Hello and welcome to podcast number 54.
54!
We're going to be catching up on the recent films and TV shows we've watched before going over the latest film news. In the second part, we're going to be breaking down our favourite comedy movies into top fives. And in the third part, we are going to be answering your questions.
Yes.
Good to have you back, Andy.
Good to be here, man.
What have you been up to?
Oh, just work. It sucked.
Oh.
This is what I will be sitting here drinking a Guinness because I fucking deserve one. So,
Happy belated St. Paddy's Day.
Yeah, happy Paddy's Day. We didn't get it yesterday, so I'm decided to have my Guinness now.
Nice.
I'm driving, so I'm only having one on camera.
No, but I'm having coffee.
Only on camera. It's like I was like, I'm gonna have one drink tonight, and then you were like, here's a gift of a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I was like, you some kind of son of a bitch.
Right, on a silver night.
Literally working. Everything we're gonna discuss that's come out recently, we'd be like, have you seen? I'm just gonna start shaking my head at you.
Oh, that's fine.
I've recently, I think I mentioned in a previous podcast for last year, we've been prepared to be moving over to a new company.
Sure.
Same job, but we've moved over to a new company. That has happened, and naturally, with most companies in this day and age, with 15 months to prepare, it was a fucking disaster.
Oh,
so it's it's been an absolute mental couple of weeks. No. So it's just been work and overtime and alcohol. Yeah, that's been pretty much it, man. So
well, I know there's
times.
a couple of things that I'm going to bring up in the catch up that I know you've watched some of, but not seen
a
all
little
yet.
bit. Yeah, I've been trying. It's like there's so much good stuff as well ready to watch, and I'm like,
it's been a good year so far.
It's been great so far, man. Yeah, touch wood.
Well, first film that I want to bring up is Knock at the Cabin, which is by director M. Night Shyamalan. Or Shyamalan Ding Dong, as Tarantino likes to call him.
Don't let that put you off.
Right. This was a film starring Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge, and Rupert Grint. And the story is about a family vacationing, and a girl and her parents are taken hostage by armed strangers who demand that the family make a choice to avert the apocalypse. Currently sitting at a 6.1 on IMDb, which...
Is that respectable for his movies?
In this day, yes. Because obviously you usually expect like 9s and 8s, and then the 4s and 3s started to come out, and ratings-wise. But I've got to honestly say, I really enjoyed Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it. Was his last one old?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that one, I gotta admit. It was kind of like, alright, it was okay. I guess the problem is though with like you're always going into his movies like waiting.
What's
for
the twist?
Well, you're fucking playing Dude, Where's My Car all the way through, like and then
yes,
through, but...
Well, the thing with this film is the gist of it is laid out for you within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was surprised how much was in the trailer.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. No, I didn't see the trailer, all of the trailer, so I remember turning it off because I was like, it feels like it's going to get too spoilery. But thankfully, like the trailer just set me up for what to expect in the film.
Good.
And I know a lot of people are probably going to go, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. I've not enjoyed his output since maybe Split. So, and before that, like,
God, Unbreakable's a good movie.
Unbreakable, yeah, absolutely fantastic. But I really dug this film. I thought Dave Bautista was fantastic. Obviously, I've mostly seen him as Drax.
I can't even say that Dave Bautista's an underrated actor anymore because I think people are finally understanding
what he brings
really
to the film.
Actor.
Yeah,
he is really good.
So when he turns up, the size that he is an intimidating.
He looks like the most frightening Jehovah's Witness to ever knock on anyone's door.
Exactly. And so when he's humbly asking this family to within the next 24 hours to decide which one of them is going to volunteer to die at the hands of the other two family members in order to save the world. How this makes sense doesn't matter. Like, that's the premise. Like, you buy into that, you buy into this scenario, and, what the drama that follows. And those that are holding the family hostage, every sort of so many hours that passes, if the family hasn't committed to it, one of the hostage takers has to sacrifice themselves too. And so...
is this a sequel to Cabin in the Woods?
It kind of is, right? It kind of is.
The game has changed.
So yeah, it had hints of that. But at the same time, you're also with the family like, these people are absolutely crazy. There's no way. Where's the fourth wall? Like, this can't be real. And so, that's the position you're in throughout the film. And I went along for that ride. Really enjoyed the spectacle. Really enjoyed the drama. Even though I kind of saw the ending coming... I really, really enjoyed it.
What's the runtime like for it?
I think it was under 2 hours.
So it's just tight?
It's tight.
Good?
Yeah. And like I said, I also
that's the problem is I think when I think was it Signs was like a really long fucking movie. Maybe it just felt long.
Maybe.
But I was like, if you're gonna do this type of movie, I think it is better to keep it in that 90 minutes sweet spot. Fuck it.
Yeah, and again, just to say, I always like films that are a bit different, and also films that are just set near enough in one location. The entire film is at that cabin.
So that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I will totally give it a shout, mostly for Dave Bautista.
For Dave Bautista, yeah. Next film I want to talk about, Scream 6.
You had to go see it, didn't you?
You know I had to. It's a slasher movie.
I know, but I watched Scream 5 recently and was like, fuck this next movie.
Yeah. Scream 5 is one of the worst. The Scream 3 is still the worst. I'll give you my rankings.
Scream 5 loses even more points for like kind of being like, and fuck the audience, by the way, this is all your fault.
Right.
Because they do. Like, they kind of blame it on horror fans.
For making franchises, they're not letting them go.
It's like, seriously?
Yeah.
Sorry, your ranking.
My ranking will be Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 6,
Oh, okay.
Scream 4, Scream 5, Scream 3. So 3 and 5, still the absolute worst. This one,
bad.
best Scream film since Scream 2. It almost feels very much like Scream 2, in essence. Scream 6 feels like Scream 2 in that it's the sequel to 5, and that they play on the sequel.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's also, they go into the... I've forgotten the term for it, where it's a sequel to a sidequel, and it gets into the meta of legacy characters.
We're in.
I know they're making up words.
South Park Inception.
Yes,
there's a taco inside an ice cream inside a burger.
Exactly, until they'll never see that coming. So honestly, it was a really refreshing slasher film. Seeing Ghostface in New York, brilliant. They set the film at Halloween, so there's loads of iconic horror figures in the background, so you don't know who's wearing the Ghostface mask and if the killer is there with the mask on. I guessed one of the killers, if not two of the killers, in the film. But I love the whole... It's not a whodunit, but a who's doing it. And of course, when the cast start to get killed off, it narrows down who's left until the Scooby-Doo reveal at the end. You're like, ah! But yeah, I enjoyed the chases. The chases were really good. The music, cinematography, and the performances. The ensemble cast worked really, really well. You do miss not having Sydney there. But of course, we still have one last remaining Scream survivor in Gail Weathers.
Yeah.
And there's lots of callbacks, lots of nods, and small spoilers. Sorry, small spoilers. Stu is still not coming back from the dead after Scream 1.
See, now I saw a lot of chatter about this.
Yeah.
And so I did think to myself, sort of like, okay, so clearly he doesn't... Yeah, he's not going to be in the 6th movie. But I did like the idea that everyone was like, no, if you're going to do it, just bring him back. And I was like, do you know what? If you told me Matthew Lilley was in it, I'd probably go watch it.
Now, here's my theory, right? Now... In the film,
I'm thinking like Mastermind Saw style.
Yes, I am. Now, again, sorry, small spoilers for Scream 6, but the Ghostface killer has a shrine to all the previous Ghostface killers, including their masks, their weapons, and the things that killed them. So at one point, they do find the TV that fell on Stu's head and killed him. But one of the characters turns and says, supposedly... So
what is it like a hot tub time machine? Like turns to the camera, supposedly.
So for me, that's the writers. They're dropping the link. They're dropping the hint that we could see Matthew Lillard back as Stu. I reckon when we get to like Scream 16. Right, like when we get to the final Scream movie, that is when we have Matthew Lillard, because that's it. You've jumped all the sharks. You've got nowhere else to go.
We've gone to Manhattan. Space is next.
Yeah, there's somebody watching Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, he's got to go. Ghostface got to go to hell, and then there he is.
He's got to go to space. Got to go to hell. Then Matthew Lillard's just got to
comes along with 13 ghosts to fight you. And...
Scream 6. It's currently, just to let you know as well, holding a 7.3. On IMDb, so it's got a strong rating. Cocaine Bear. Has everybody seen Cocaine Bear yet? No. Oh my God, why?
I know.
I never expected this from Elizabeth Banks, of all people, to be directing Cocaine Bear. It's sitting at a 6.2 on IMDb, and I have to say, if you're a fan of this type of schlock, this is a 10 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to see if not...
Right?
The title doesn't
The
bury
title-
the lead, does it?
Exactly.
I mean,
You go to see a film called Snakes on a Plane, you're going to get snakes on a motherfucking plane. You watch a film called Cocaine Bear, I tell you now, that bear gets to that cocaine within 5 minutes of this film starting. And it is carnage from there on out. The film goes, here's an ensemble group of characters. They're all dead now.
yeah.
Here's your next group of... they're dead now. Here's your next... it is grisly. It is nasty.
Nice. Well
and
done.
it is funny. Really, really...
I hope that's on the poster. Like,
It
it's
is grisly. Honestly, I was so took aback by this film. Even though, you're looking at the bear and like, it's a CGI bear, obviously. But they have so much fun with it. It's like they know that this premise is
You're
ridiculous.
saying they didn't go with practical effects on this.
Right, yeah, right.
Where's the bear wrangler? Just open this fucking bag.
Now, yeah, apparently Asylum Pictures are doing Cocaine Shark, and there's going to be all types of cocaine monsters now.
I caught that opening episode of fucking Mandalorian with Cocaine Crocodile.
Cocaine
It's like,
Crocodile, right.
I was like, we just do this for every movie. This is
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, just cocaine, anything. But yeah, I highly recommend you. Of course, you know the type of film it is. If you're an average cinema goer, you're like, Cocaine Bear, well, that sounds rather interesting. Let's find out what that's about.
We should
Avoid it.
Build
You know?
like a universal dark world out of this, where we could just have weed monkey, and just fucking just literally like 2 dartboards, one covered in drug names and one with random animals.
yeah.
Pow! What are we making this week, Charlie? Pow!
Meth head otters.
LSD ostrich.
Right. Okay, it's time to talk about The Last of Us. Season 1 has just finished airing on HBO, and Season 2 could very well be about 2 years away, similar to the current Game of Thrones trend where it's going to be 2 years between seasons because of the monolithic scale of the writing, the production, the special effects, and everything else.
Aging that actress up as well.
True, yeah, I guess
There
there's
is that.
a time jump.
Yeah.
But I think it is probably the best adaptation of a video game to a TV series. We haven't had the movies yet, faithful adaptation, but in terms of TV series, this shows how it's done. Like, you take these characters, you do it faithfully, and
Yeah, I mean, the changes are so,
minor.
They're so slight.
Are so
They're
slight,
so slight,
that
but-
the core of what makes them are still evident in this show.
It's interesting as well because I know I still need to watch the last 2 episodes. I've been busy,
Sure.
but this is interesting because obviously you've not played the games.
I
I
haven't,
know that
no.
you're aware of.
I've watched the first game played through. Yeah.
Absolutely, but it's been interesting for me as a fan of both games, talking to people that are like, just say watching it because they're fans of Walking Dead.
Sure,
The amount of people
yeah.
that are like, oh, it kind of looks like Walking Dead. I'm like, yeah, go watch it.
Yeah.
But it just seems to be getting such amazing praise from people. Yeah, I'm a fan of the game and this hit the fucking spot for me. Oh, I like, sort of like zombie post-apocalyptic shows. Bang, this hit the spot for me. It's like all these different people have really enjoyed to it. And I do think it's been an amazing... Granted, I've not seen the last 2 episodes, but I'm not expecting them to fuck up at the last hurdle.
No, yeah, well, yeah.
Seeing the way that they brought everything together to keep you... to hit all the major points of that first game whilst making tweaks, one that are just sort of like, oh, okay, that's a good new way of looking at it, or 2, just make fucking sense. A lot, the first one that people were talking about is like, oh, they changed the spores to like these tendrils, and I'm like, yeah, because Pedro Pascal wears a mask all day in another fucking series.
Right.
He's not wearing a gas mask all the way through this. Like, they need to see the actors' faces. It was an elegant solution, and they didn't just change it. They gave you a reason with the whole they're connected to everything, which actually made me go like, oh, that's interesting. The way they use the flashbacks and flash forwards at the start.
I was
going to
say, I really love the structure of the first few
enjoyable.
episodes. They kind of dropped that going forward.
They did, but I think that they realised, yeah, we've done it now. We've built this into a world outside of the video game for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's yeah, and I mean, personally, I thought the special effects were incredible.
Yes, absolutely outstanding.
Fucking
Like, they're
bloated, man.
movie
Oh
quality.
My God.
I only wish...
I know they brought in they brought in the actors who played the clickers and stuff.
Nice.
Because
Yeah.
I am going to buy it on the PS5 because I'm a shill. After playing The Last of Us 1 about 3 or 4 times through, Last of Us 2 twice, I got PTSD from clickers.
Sure. So that sound.
I was watching that sound come out. I was like, oh fuck, they did it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, they ain't fucking about.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, I just want to say, out of all the episodes, I want to say my favorite episode was the third episode, and that was the long time with Nick Offerman as Bill,
God, what a
and Murray Bartlett as Frank. I just thought it was such a great short story that helped build up that Last of Us universe so much so. It's just incredible.
Actually, bringing Joel into it as well was very good, because in a way you didn't even need to.
No.
They didn't even need to show because of the way it ends. They didn't even need to show the relationship with Joel and.
But I loved the letter that he left for him. So that's and of course having it narrated as well. It just made it so bittersweet. But I was like, but that story as well in that episode is for me one of the things why I keep saying The Walking Dead can do this. You know, there are a million stories to tell in the post-apocalypse. You can do one-shot stories like this. And if you just slightly bring it into the main narrative for, you know, if it was a stopgap point, like it just fleshes out that world. It makes you care for the people in that world more. And so episodes like that were just fantastic. Absolutely loved it.
Just shows it wasn't that hard, was it?
No.
To do.
No, absolutely.
Turns out to adapt the video game, you know. And again, I love the fact that they've gone with the, like, you know, season 1 is Last of Us 1.
Yeah.
Guess what? Season 2 is going to be, you know.
Yeah.
Ironically, I think that they could, because of the way that the second game is sort of done, it wouldn't bother me if they said we're going to do season 2 and 3 and split that game into 2, because I'd be like, do you know what? That would work. You wouldn't need to do it with the first season and the way that they've done it. How many episodes was it? Was it 8 or 9?
I think it was 9 episodes.
9.
Yeah.
So I mean, if packing that second one into 9. Hey, I mean, look, they're good writers. It's the same guy, so I mean, they can probably do it. But I would.
They're breaking it down right now, obviously.
Yeah,
but it looks like I think the second game would be 2 seasons. I think they might structure it that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I do wonder how much pressure is on Naughty Dog now to knock that third game out.
Right, so that they've got the...
Like, HBO is parking the money truck outside, boys, if you'd like to start coding.
Yeah, right, get writing. So at least they can... the series is going to go surpass the games.
Absolutely. But, you know, there's always Last of Us 2 PS5.
Just play the game again.
I'll buy it like a dickhead, so it's fine.
Okay, the next TV show I want to bring up is Star Trek Picard.
Oh, that was delicious.
Season 3. Now, obviously, the last couple of years, I've ranted and raved about the current atrocities inflicted upon one of my favourite properties, that is Star Trek. The new modern Trek has been rocky, to say the least. I have been one of those defenders of Star Trek Discovery. I know a lot of people hate it. A lot of Trekkies really, really hate it. But I enjoyed some of the storytelling and some of the characters in that show.
Do you watch Below Deck?
Yes. However,
I watched it and was like, man, I miss Final Space.
Yeah, yes. Oh, Final Space.
Just made me wish I could. Made me rewatch Final Space.
Honestly, Final Space is still so much better than Lower Decks. I watch Lower Decks and then I take long breaks because there'd just be one really obnoxiously annoying, loud as fuck episode. I'm just like, why am I watching this? This is garbage. Case in point, the most recent season, I'd stopped watching it for a while, and I thought I need to finish Lower Decks. I need some more Star Trek. I put Lower Decks back on, and it was an episode where there's an explosion and a robot gets ejected out, and it lands on a planet, and they're not a spacefaring race, but they have this super intelligent AI, but it was owl people, and the robot had this shrill, high-pitched screaming voice, and the owls were just hollering, and I turned it off.
Right up there with that season of Archer set in space then. Also.
Right. So I don't know how Lower Decks continues, because I do know that Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds is having a crossover later this year.
Okay.
So I'm like, I want to be up to date with both shows, but I'm like, Lower Decks, you've burned me too many times now, so I'm done with that one. I also haven't watched Star Trek Voyager, the Prodigy one,
okay,
which is the other animated one, but I've been hearing pretty damn good things about it.
Is it Lower Deck? Is it Below Deck? Lower Deck? What is it?
I think it's Prodigy.
No, sorry, the first one.
Oh, Lower Decks. Yeah,
I think I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and I just couldn't work out what it was.
Yeah,
I just didn't. I'm not a huge Trek fan anyway.
Sure,
but yeah, I couldn't gravitate on it, and I love my animation, you know. But
yeah,
I was just like, I was like, who's this for? I don't understand.
Yeah. Because I'm like, is it for Trek fans? Is it to try and get people into Trek? Is it what? Yeah. But Star Trek Picard season 1 had a ton of issues, a ton of problems. It completely destroyed any kind of dream that we may have had of seeing a TNG reunion or revitalization in new Trek. It was dour, depressing. The Federation was a shell of what it was. There was vulgar language. Picard was nothing like the character we thought he would be. The story was nonsensical, and they killed Jean-Luc Picard at the end of the season.
Spoilers.
Sorry. Not sorry. And so now we're watching an android.
Now he's a Borg again.
And now he's a Borg again. Yeah, now he's an android again. Who's programmed to still live until Picard would have died somehow. Magic.
Oh, you serious? I was fucking about. I haven't watched it.
This is it. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so in the third season, they kind of like occasionally make a slight reference to the fact that
Jason always goes to space.
Right? They make passing reference that he might be an android now. They're kind of like brushing the first 2 seasons under the rug, and rightfully so, because there were moments in season 2 that were great, but it dropped out the bottom when they dragged characters through modern day, settings or near future settings, and it was just so cheap. It's like when you get a Masters of the Universe movie and they set it in downtown LA. It's just like you got Star Trek and they said it in downtown LA.
I rewatched that movie recently, and yeah, it's as stupid as you ever remember it to be.
But
this sounds like it's being written on the fly. We were talking off camera about Mandalorian, how impressive. They're on season 3, but John Favreau was talking. I was like, oh yeah, I finished season 4, and you're like, oh man, this is all going to link in beautifully because he's going to be going back and like make sure everything works. And this just sounds like they finished 2, and then they're like, any ideas for 3 then?
Yeah, well, that's it. That is it.
It's not like they got an end goal that they want to get to and they're writing towards it. And
they had a contract with Patrick Stewart that was 3 seasons, so they are obliged to make this 3rd season before it's over. But the writers, showrunners, and producers of the first 2 seasons have gone, fuck it. Who wants to do it? Like, we fucked up so... Well, they haven't said that, of course. We fucked up so bad. You do it. And they've all left. They've still got their names in the credits, but apparently the guy running this now, I've forgotten his name. It's Terry Matalas. And he's literally been left to pick up the pieces of Star Trek Picard. And he actually worked on Star Trek Enterprise and Star Trek Voyager as like an associate, an assistant, basically on set as a runner. But he was there. He saw OG Trek almost, and so what he's brought to Picard season 3 is his passion for Star Trek. Would you believe it? There is someone who's passionate about Star Trek making Star Trek for the first time.
You can't always just cast the Carpenter and end up with Han Solo.
Exactly.
It's fucking damn near impossible to finish someone else's murder mystery. That's the problem. So
thankfully he didn't have to pick up any threads from the first 2 seasons. As a matter of fact, he dropped 3/4 of the cast, and went, I'm going to do what this show should have been in the first place, which is a TNG show. I'm going to bring back the entire TNG cast. And he's brought them back in really great fashion. We haven't, at the moment, we haven't seen all the TNG cast yet. But we have a lot of scenes with Riker and Picard and Beverly Crusher and Worf. And they have all reprised their roles fantastically. It's a massive jump from the last time we've seen them, timeline-wise. But the interplay between Picard and Riker is amazing. Just their casual conversations, yet alone when they're literally involved in a Wrath of Khan type situation, from the titles being dropped at the beginning of each episode like TNG did, like old Trek did. The music, the use of First Contact music, Wrath of Khan music, TNG music, all of those little nostalgia buttons, the way it's edited together to punctuate those scenes, it works. When they bring characters back from TNG that we haven't seen in 30 years, it pays off really, really, really well. It has so many good emotional beats. When characters have conversations and it feels like it was written by a mature person who understands these characters and their histories, instead of them just dropping some bad dialogue, swearing, and then pushing some buttons and being done with it. there are great action scenes. Amanda Plummer is a brilliant villain. The spaceship designs are amazing. The first 4 episodes of Picard Season 3 work as a movie, and in my opinion, it's the best Star Trek movie since, for TNG, that cast, since First Contact. Jonathan Frakes has also been directing some of these episodes, and has delivered, I think, some of the best Trek since Voyager got home.
He did TNG, didn't he?
He did. He also directed First Contact as well.
Of course he did, yeah.
So he's,
They brought Wheaton back yet?
Who?
Will Wheaton, they brought him back.
He did appear at the end of season 2 of Picard.
Really?
That's he also did appear in the last movie during the wedding, but yeah. But yeah, it's
like, I got that Big Bang money. I don't need to do this now.
I love that they're honoring the legacy characters, and they are also developing the new cast as well. So they're juggling it right. Now we've had the explosive first 4 episodes. Now the plot's thickening. I hope that the show goes from strength to strength and doesn't drop out the bottom like its previous seasons. But I have faith.
You got a fan in charge
from
from what you were saying. That's like, that should never be a bad thing. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Fingers crossed, man.
Alrighty. Well, I think. It is practically time for the news, but there is just one thing that I needed to bring up.
Say this slowly so I can take it in and enjoy it, please.
Willow, the series, has been cancelled after 1 season.
I'm going to eat that because it's so glorious.
Still, in my opinion, the worst TV show of last year.
Fucking bag of shit.
An abomination. An absolute travesty. An insult to Willow fans. I cannot believe Warwick Davis delivered such a non-performance.
I don't think it was caught in the last podcast, but in the break we started discussing it, and I went off so hard that my fucking smartwatch thought I was going for a run. My blood pressure got that high talking about that piece of shit. I'm having to do a bit of controlled breathing right now.
Yeah, just to hold back.
Why was that? Why? Just fucking why? Dude,
bad writing.
So
I'm
bad.
sure the actors would have been fine.
You know when something's real bad, when there's someone, you're watching someone reprise a role that you loved. I loved that first movie.
Yeah.
And you're watching, I'm watching Warwick Davis, and I'm like, has he always been shit? And am I stupid? Has he always been a terrible actor? And I've only just noticed this.
Maybe.
Or is he doing this on purpose?
Is he sabotaging this? Yeah, I only reviewed Willow not too long ago, and I was like, I literally mentioned he gave an admirable performance as one of his first roles outside of Star Wars, outside of
takes it totally seriously in Willow.
Yeah,
nails it.
It just there's just dull monotone delivery in Willow. There's nothing. He's got no go in him. Oh, man. So yeah, no surprise that shit got canned.
Bye, bitch.
Alrighty, well. We got some sad news, of course, when we get to the news. I want to talk and honour those in the industry that have passed away. I want to mention Tom Sizemore, sadly, has passed away at the age of 61. Very memorable actor who appeared in a variety of films, such as Saving Private Ryan, Heat, Black Hawk Down, Natural Born Killers, and Relic.
Oh, God, I love Relic.
Yeah. Worked with some of the best directors in Hollywood.
Point Break as well. He was in
Point Break, yeah. Ridley Scott, Steven Spielberg, Michael Mann. He's an actor whose troubled personal life often made for headlines whilst he was dealing with drug addiction, domestic abuse accusations, and multiple lawsuits. Tom Sizemore himself had said at one point, I should have been dead many times over, and honestly, I didn't know if I was going to come back from the bottom I dropped to. So yeah, we know that he had a rough time of it, but sad to hear that he collapsed after suffering a brain aneurysm after a stroke. He remained in a coma until he passed away in his sleep. But yeah, it's still a very memorable character. Had such a strong presence in the films he was in.
Yeah, man. Dude, that speech he gives in Relic about the fucking bullet that should have fired and killed him, and he's took the gun off him and beat the piss out of him. That's always one of my favorite.
Exactly, he made that so memorable because it's rare that he has
really
a leading
underrated
role.
Movie, and yeah, him and he was the main protagonist really in that one, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And the next one, this one came as an absolute shock.
Fucking yesterday, right?
It happened yesterday. I'm still shocked by it. I'm still not ready to talk about it.
I posted it on the Discord and then was like, I gotta fucking Google this and make sure this is right.
I don't believe it. I just didn't believe it. But Lance Reddick has passed away at the age of 60. wonderful actor, taken way too soon. I'm shocked to hear of his passing.
I was shocked he was 60.
Exactly.
He looks about 5 years older than me.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
he's
man,
in
he looked
shape.
good.
Yeah, he
great
looked really
shape.
good.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
energy. But I'm always going to remember him from TV shows such as Fringe, Oz, Lost, and The Wire.
The Wire was his big one.
That was his big one. Yeah. Of course, recently, Netflix Resident Evil as Albert Wesker. Now, this show may have been piss awful, but Lance elevated everyone he shared the screen with, and he made an already iconic character his own. You know, Lance had such
He
a
was
strong...
trying, man. He was fucking
tried.
trying. But he played multiple versions of the same character, and each of them
in
was
one
different.
episode. Yeah. No,
He
he
fucking sucked, but each of his characters were different.
Yes. He had such a strong, deep voice that you'd recognize it anywhere. Even in video games such as Destiny as Commander Zavala and the Horizon games as well.
Yeah, plays in Horizon.
He's also been fantastic in the John Wick series of films, with the 4th film currently in cinemas now. John Wick director Chad Stahelski said, "We're deeply saddened and heartbroken at the loss of our beloved friend and colleague, Lance Reddick. He was the consummate professional and a joy to work with." Keanu Reeves also said in a statement, "Our love and prayers are with his wife Stephanie, his children, family and friends. We dedicate this film to his loving memory and we will miss him dearly."
It's so strange that I was literally the hour before I saw the news, I was walking my dog and I was talking to a friend of mine, and before I'd gone out, I had the first John Wick just playing in the background while I was working, and we were just discussing about, like, with the 4th one coming out, it's like how tonally different that first movie is. And one of the things that I said about it is how funny it's like to see the evolution of Lance Reddick's character, where he is literally just the concierge, you know, sort of looking after his dog and everything like that. But then by the 3rd one, he's like armor-piercing rounds, like, you know, and a fucking badass who you could totally build.
It was
part
his
of the franchise
character,
around.
the way it was written, the way he was there. That you could see the hotel that he's there, having its own show, having its own story,
Easily.
all the stories that are set there based on his role and his performance.
Helps that he has a fucking voice that he could use to melt butter.
Exactly.
You know, like,
he has the
could
stature for it too,
absolutely,
because he's tall, he's intimidating. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
So he carries himself well, and there was an amazing story. I think somebody posted on the Discord how it was during the filming of one of the John Wicks, and it was Keanu Reeves' birthday, and he was like, "I've not many scenes with Lance Reddick, so I just want to go to the set and watch Lance Reddick do his scenes and just watch him." And I was saying,
Speaks
amazing
volumes,
guy.
doesn't it?
Speaks volumes. Yeah, it really does.
Big shame.
So yeah, real shame. Now, something else that usually is a real shame to behold, that's the Oscars. But apparently now, looking at all of the results from the Oscars 2023, pretty happy that
fucking
everything
justice.
everywhere
Justice,
all
bitches.
at once took everything near enough. Best Picture went to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best Actress, Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best Supporting Actress, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
In the year of Halloween Ends, she got a fucking Oscar.
I know, right?
Ladbrokes were not taking bets on that.
It didn't in her acceptance speech she thank her horror fans.
Probably, again, like, because of the whole thing, I don't actually watch the Oscars, but I certainly, the next morning I wanted to know who won. I didn't see Jamie Lee Curtis's, but the next one you'll talk about, I couldn't wait to watch that one.
It was Ke Huy Quan who won Best Supporting Actor for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And his reunion picture with Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg, which I think it was Guillermo del Toro who was just like, let me take this picture. Yeah. It's the same one that you guys took 30 odd years ago.
Wholesome as fuck.
It's wholesome as hell. It's wonderful to see. And so like it's obviously we're talking about Short Round from Indiana Jones, and to see him like acting again after all this time is incredible.
Did you see the story? He told a story about seeing Harrison Ford the first time for like years after.
He didn't know how famous he was when he was working with him.
But when he saw him, and he saw him in like a hotel, and was like, he sort of like got his attention. He went, "Hey, do you remember me?" And without missing a beat, he went, "Are you Short Round?" And that, you know, it's the fact that he, you know,
that connection, that bond they had.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brendan Fraser won Best Actor for The Whale. I'm so glad he did.
I haven't even
deserved
seen it.
this.
I haven't even seen it yet, and I'm so glad he won it because I think Brendan Fraser should win all awards, not just
ongoing.
acting ones.
Yeah, right.
Like if there's like I don't know, like if in my work there's a like can we get a colleague of the week? I'm like I think you should give it to Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, he probably should. Yeah, he's earned
For
it.
the money alone.
But yeah, The Whale was a spectacular picture. I think it might potentially be my film of this year, even though it came out last year. But UK, blah blah blah. I was
I'll be
absolutely
nominating.
blown away
I was
by
going to
it.
say I'll be considering it in this year. Yeah,
Exactly, yeah, because of release schedules,
Yeah.
it's a pain. But I'm a huge fan of Darren Aronofsky movies. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this film. So even though The Whale may not have won Best Picture, it's so good to see Brendan Fraser bring home Best Actor. It's such a wonderful person, and from all of his interviews that we've seen him, such a humble guy who really shines in The
Stood
Whale.
up for his morals as well, man.
Yes, yeah. So
fucking put his morals above career, money, everything.
yeah,
And walked.
I walked.
Like, that's some brave shit because I don't know that I could do that from that much money. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
good on him. Awesome.
So yeah, 7 Oscars in total for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and 4 Oscars for All Quiet on the Western Front. It won Best International Film, Best Score, Best Cinematography, and Best Production Design.
The only one in there that actually shocked me, because I loved All Quiet on the Western Front, it was a fucking phenomenal movie, but
Yeah.
I am shocked, even though I didn't enjoy the film, I can't believe Nope didn't get like cinematography.
I know. I'm
saying that
it
somebody
was-
didn't enjoy the film, but has got to
It was my
acknowledge
film of the
what
year.
it looked like.
It's
Do you
not
know what I
even
mean?
mentioned.
I
Not even
was
nominated.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
That
Very,
that wasn't
very
in
annoyed.
wasn't in the question in the
but
category.
I'm still very happy with the awards where they went for the most part, but yeah. And of course,
Yeah.
Avatar 2 won Best Visual Effects. I mean, of course. Like, didn't win any others this time around, though.
I mean, there were 2 movies released around water this year. One of them was Wakanda, and I turned that off halfway through. So I was like,
oh dear.
I'm not fucking surprised Avatar 2 won Best Visual, and I ain't even seen it. So
Alrighty, so this next news story has got me very, very excited. Mike Flanagan is working behind the scenes on getting a proper adaptation of the Dark Tower books by Stephen King. Now, Mike directed
fooled me
Gerald's...
twice.
Right, shame on me. But now, yeah, Mike directed Gerald's Game and Doctor Sleep, and, in my opinion, the excellent Midnight Mass,
I enjoyed it.
and the
Gerald's Game is phenomenal.
Haunting on Hill House series shows on Netflix. Now, for me, this is a director who is imaginative. He's a creator, and he wants to adapt this story. Now, unfortunately for him, Doctor Sleep didn't make the money that the studio was hoping for because they had spin-off Shining universe shows that all got dropped. And now Mike explained on the Script Apart podcast that the Dark Tower is the nexus of the multiverse for all of Stephen King's worlds and stories, and that characters from all the adaptations could feature in the proposed Dark Tower films, including the characters of Danny and Rose the Hat from The Shining, and any other characters from Salem's Lot, from Maximum Overdrive to Stephen King's It. You know, nothing's confirmed yet. All we know is that Mike Flanagan has the rights to make the Dark Tower series or films or a combination thereof. Right now, the only thing he's looking for is a studio to greenlight it. And
Who's the studio, sorry? Did you say?
there
What
is no
studio
studio. Right now...
Everyone wants a fucking multiverse, dude, like the Avengers. It's
exactly.
right
Now,
there.
Mike Flanagan is currently still working with Netflix. Obviously, they pulled the plug on his other show right now. But I think Amazon Studios are going to come calling for Mike for the Dark Tower series, because I think that could be special. And because it's Mike Flanagan attached to it, because obviously some of the other Amazon big money shows right now, like Game of Lord of the Rings and The Wheels of Time, have been absolutely catastrophic. So
Yeah, they need that. They need that hot property, don't they?
they do. So I'm hyped, but at the same time, like, please don't fuck it up. Please don't screw it up, Mike. Don't do it. Creed 3 has passed the $100 million mark in its opening weekend. And now, Michael B. Jordan is looking to expand the Creed universe with more films, an Amazon Studios TV series, and now an animated series as well, whilst the Drago movie spin-off is still also in the works. There's a lot of Rocky stuff going along right now
The Drago
without
one
much Rocky.
is the one that Stallone is like, I'm not talking to anyone about. Like, he's pissed about it.
He's
Because not
pissed
been
at
consulted.
Irving, who has pretty much owned Rocky since the first movie and has kind of held it over Stallone this entire time, which is why the behind-the-scenes legal battles have occurred, and which is why Rocky's like, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, go make your money.
Dude, he's been trying to kill himself for
Yeah.
the last few movies
Yeah.
since Rocky 5. Like, the end of it, he's been literally like, and then
Concussion,
Rocky dies.
cancer.
And then they're like, no, he doesn't. And you're like, oh. So it's kind of funny that he's so... I mean, I get it. Obviously, it's his nut. That's how he made himself, obviously, especially with that first one. And he took a big risk on that first one, not... outright selling the script and by saying no, I want to be. I'm directing it. I'm in it.
Yeah.
This is my movie. So
Yeah,
I totally get it. But I mean, I haven't seen Creed 3 yet. We were talking how we'd seen the last two together. We need to go to cinema and watch it.
This is one, but I was just like, but Cocaine Bear, but Scream.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, John Wick 4. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they're building the first one that's really building on his story.
Yes, for the first time now. So,
In its entirety.
The fact that it's done so well as well,
is good.
It means, okay.
It wasn't like when they brought in matey, fucking Kang. They were, it's Mr. T's son, is it? It's like, no, it's fucking not. Calm down.
Right.
It's like, he hasn't got to fight the son of every one of Rocky's guys.
Yes.
Shit. I hope in Creed 4 he fights Rocky's son.
Yeah. Let's gotta go full circle eventually.
Like, knocks him out with a single punch.
And then it becomes the Rocky show again.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Alrighty, well, we're into some quickfire news now. Yeah, this one might go right past you. If you don't know who Jack Kessie is...
No, I'm not gonna shit you. We googled him and we still don't know who he is.
This is Jack Kessie. This is the new Hellboy, and you're gonna like him. No, we're
There's
not.
gonna be makeup.
He's like Ron Perlman.
I'm sure he'll look like Hellboy.
It's like a cult icon, right? He's legendary. Like Ron Perlman, legend. David Harbour. Like, okay, you're not Ron Perlman in the Hellboy suit, but
Look, the film wasn't great, but
like,
he looked good.
But you just
I thought he looked good.
you just had a really good Christmas movie, which could be a yearly rewatch. Plus, he's
easily.
been fantastic in Stranger Things.
Absolutely.
So he's got a following, a fandom. Who the fuck is Jack Kessie?
That is one step above just going, do you know what? Hellboy's going to be full CGI. And we're just
Right.
do you know what? That would be better if they just went,
Just
fuck
CGI
it. He'll be
them.
CGI. And Ron, will you just do a voiceover for us?
Oh yeah, amazing.
Just fucking do that.
Done. But no, the studio wants to try again with Hellboy with a new reboot. Creator Mike Mignola is writing the script for this one, and they've got one of the Crank directors, Brian Taylor, who's going to be directing this one.
Oh, the Crank. Oh, fucking great.
Right. Now, apparently this film story is going to take place in the 1950s, following the story of the Crooked Man, with a link to Hellboy's past.
Okay, cool.
So if you are curious who Jack Kessie is, he briefly appeared in Deadpool 2.
So briefly, we couldn't find a picture.
Nope. He was also in the Strain TV show, and he was in films such as 12 Strong and Baywatch. You'll Google him and look at him and go, oh.
Was he like person on the beach number 4 in Baywatch?
Yes, I think
Like,
so.
just-
I think they got real cheap with this new movie. It doesn't instill me with much confidence. Plus, I don't really care if Ron Perlman's not involved. If Guillermo del Toro's not involved, I'm sorry.
No one
It's
really
not
cares about
Hellboy.
it, unfortunately, no.
Quentin Tarantino is gearing up to make his 10th and last film. Apparently it's going to be called The Movie Critic. Reportedly, the script is already complete, and production won't commence until this autumn, as that is the sort of time frame backdrop that Tarantino wants for this film. And it's going to focus on a female film critic in LA in the 1970s. So
She
that's
will kill Sharon Tate in the most horrific fucking way
it's gonna be
possible.
based in reality until it's not.
Yeah. Until she murders Hitler's ghost.
No, Tarantino's always said that he's going to make 10 movies
10
and
and out,
that's
right?
it.
Yeah.
So whether this, if this is his last movie, it'll be a swan song. Interesting material. Obviously, he might have something to say about film criticism in general.
I hope he plays the female film critic. Without makeup.
Without makeup,
Fuck
right?
it. Stuffs a bra. And just goes full Tootsie and just doesn't give a fuck. This is my movie. I can do what I want. I'm a fucking hero.
I can only imagine right now, like, if you're in Hollywood, if you're connected in any way, and you're like, this is going to be his last ever movie, I can imagine everyone is going to want to work with
do you
him
know
on
what I was
this.
just about to say? Like, if you get into this movie, it's like it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Can we call either Mia Goth for the female critic or from the Menu and
Anna Taylor-Joy.
Anna Taylor-Joy. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
I'll call that one right now. But yeah, you're right. I can literally see the entire cast of the entire Tarantino work being in this one. You know that fucking Brad Pitt is showing up for 9 different cameos.
Right. John Travolta's like, make me relevant again. One more time, it's my last chance. Some more casting news for you. I mean, this isn't confirmed casting yet, but Guillermo del Toro has been looking to lock in his cast for the Frankenstein adaptation that he's been wanting to make for, 10, 15 years now. He's now in talks with Andrew Garfield, Oscar Isaac, and Mia Goth. And this will apparently be a Netflix production. I'm like, solid cast, brilliant director, everyone knows Frankenstein. Do it. Do it, please.
No, you got to do Pinocchio first. Oh, fine.
Exactly, which is fantastic.
Here's all the money.
Now, this next news story is a bit of a long one, multi-layered as well, and again something to get pretty damn hyped for. Evil Dead Rise is the first reviews have been coming forth after Rise's premiere at South by Southwest Film Festival. The Hollywood Reporter has said that it's a wonderfully sick new installment in the beloved horror franchise, adding, "Blood is everywhere, penetrating the walls of an elevator and dripping from various orifices."
Nice.
Evil Dead Rise is unrelenting in this way, even with the touches of pressure-alleviating humour. Cronin's film is a wonderfully sick series entry, deftly calibrated to satisfy fans and traumatize the uninitiated.
I'm just saying, we haven't missed yet.
Nope.
There hasn't been a bad Evil Dead movie.
There hasn't yet. The film currently holds an 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
That is dick out scoring, that
after 160 votes so far coming from South by Southwest. However, we do have another review from someone that was actually at the premiere. They gave their honest and immediate reaction of, "This movie fucking sucks,"
Yeah, I read this.
before being told to fuck off by Bruce Campbell himself.
Like, get out, Sam! Like,
Right?
Raimi, you motherfucker, get out!
And the crowd cheered as this poor person left the theatre. Evil Dead Rise will be in cinemas or in theaters on the 21st of April. It's just over a month away, man. I cannot wait.
We're gonna have to go and see this together.
Absolutely, I want to be there day one. And obviously, Evil Dead fans, if you're listening to this right now, if you're listening to this later, go to the cinema and see this. Like, Ash vs Evil Dead got canned because not enough people bought the DVDs or watched or subscribed to Stars. Even though I still blame them for doing it on Stars. It wasn't I don't think it was the network that allowed them to do it, but it wasn't the network that was going to give it to the masses. We weren't there for Stars. We're there for you, Bruce and Sam and Rob, but we weren't there for Stars, I'm afraid. So let's go to the cinemas and see Evil Dead Rise, because Sam Raimi now has his own production company and he is producing a ton of films right now, and he has also just let slip hype levels rising. Sam Raimi wants to direct another Evil Dead movie with Bruce Campbell reprising the role of Ash. Of course, Bruce Campbell famously said back, 5 years ago, 2018, when Ash vs. Evil Dead 3 was cancelled, he retired the chainsaw. He was like, "I'm done. My body is battered and bruised. The long filming schedule. I'm in my 60s. I cannot keep doing this Ash character." But I mean, that was final, concrete, like no comebacks. But now that Sam has said, "I want to do more Evil Dead," Bruce said, "If Sam is directing and he wants Ash, I'll be there for him. I will be there for Sam." He said, it also went on to say, it's because Sam Raimi is the only director that he will not punch in the face whilst they're making an Evil Dead anything. I'm like, the relationship those two have,
Which is
all the way
ironic,
back.
considering he's the one that's put him through the most fucking
Exactly,
shit
yes.
as well. Like,
But-
that first movie down there killed him.
Yes, but they know each other, they understand each other, they have that history, that relationship. But it's exciting. It really is exciting. And Sam Raimi said he wanted to do an Evil Dead film back around the time when the Evil Dead remake was going ahead, but he was like, I decided not to go ahead with a Bruce movie because he thought audiences would get too confused if there was too many Evil Dead movies coming out.
Yeah.
He also said that this new Evil Dead
So
Rise,
just jab him in the credits.
right? This new Evil
People
Dead
cheer,
Rise
it's fine.
is obviously not in the Bruce Campbell Ash timeline. It's not in the Evil Dead remake timeline. It's another universe. So this is our third Evil Dead universe now. And Sam said it's the multiverse of Evil Dead. Like, so any director with an idea or a vision for the Evil Dead can now come to his studio as well and pitch the ideas around. But Sam said he has a script for Army of Darkness 2 that's been kicking around for more than 10 years.
Yeah. He has
So-
also though been tapped allegedly to do the next Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So that's obviously schedule wise he's gonna
be busy.
Yeah.
But it also means
And it's not like he's going to be like, hey, do you mind waiting while I make this Evil Dead? Like, no, Sam, get the fuck over here and
Right,
make our
we've already paid you.
$150 million movie.
right, yeah. But yeah, it's exciting. It means there's hope that we're going to get at least one more Evil Dead movie with Ash. Now, one other thing as well is that the director said that, of course, Ash is not going to be appearing in the new Evil Dead film. Cronin confirms he's not in the film, but he has teased that Bruce Campbell is hidden in Evil Dead Rise somewhere. He has a small presence in the movie, and he said the first person to figure it out and send me a tweet, I'll give them $50.
Okay, I've not
So-
seen it. I'm telling you now, it'll be like a cardboard cutout like the Ted Danson ghost in Freeman and
Right.
the Little Baby behind the curtain. That's what it'll be.
I'm reckoning
Just
Bruce is going to be a voice for one of the possessed Deadites or demons.
It's a good shout.
I think so. That's the subtlety that I think it's going to be.
Have an ear out for like, what's it called? Commercials in the background.
Right, yeah,
Errant
it's going to
TVs
be
that
an
are on, it'll be
audio
something
thing. That's what
like
I'm
that, yeah.
expecting it to be, an audio thing.
You know,
But
if I was him now, I'd go back and splice in some kind of argument between neighbours in the hallway and have the cut from him telling that guy to get the fuck out
Right.
from the screening
Yes,
and like, I'd cut that shit into the movie now.
yes, yeah.
I know you don't like the film, you're fucking in it now, mate. Just to be a dick.
Right. Well, that is it for the news. I don't have any trailers for you this time around, unless there's any you can think of, Andy. I don't.
I don't think I've watched any trailers. I haven't been able to watch
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
That's the problem.
Just been
Oh,
seeing
do you know,
every-
actually, no, I fucking will say one, and it does kind of tie into our theme, and I don't know if you've seen it. If you're a fan like I am of the comedian Bert Kreischer, he's famous for doing The Machine sketch, where it's talking about him as a Florida frat boy going to Russia and getting involved with the Russian mafia.
Okay.
He's turned, and this is amazing because I don't really know any comedians that have really done this before. It's his most famous, sort of like sketch.
Okay.
And he's turned it into a movie, starring himself as himself,
Okay.
being sort of called back to Russia because of this story that he's told. Mark Hamill is playing his dad in it.
Okay.
Who in the trailer is phenomenal. So if you're a fan
What's it called?
The Machine.
The Machine.
It's
Okay.
just called The Machine, and that's what the sketch is. You can watch his special on Netflix. We'll definitely get into this in a minute, but you can watch his special on Netflix, or you could literally go on YouTube to put in Bert Kreischer, The Machine. You put in The Machine, you'll see it. But when I saw the trailer for this, I marked out hard.
Nice.
I was like, shut the fuck up, they're making a fucking movie of that. But also, I think it's a really interesting... Every comedian's got their top story, the one that's sort of like, the bit, like, for Jim Jeffries, it was like the gun control bit, but I've never seen them go like, I'm actually going to take this joke and make a movie out of
an
it.
entire film.
Which
Wow.
looks amazing. And the trailer does genuinely look great.
Awesome.
Doesn't look cheap either, and it looks like it's good. That one's definitely one that I'm going to.
I want to check this trailer out now.
Yeah, it's definitely. Well, we'll watch it in the break.
Sure. Well, that's it. We are going to take a short break now, but when we come back, we are going to be breaking down our top 5
Yes.
best comedy movies of all time. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the second part of the podcast, where we are going to be breaking down our favourite and best comedy films of all time into our
Yes.
top 5s. So, Ian is absent for this
Yes.
one, but he has forwarded his own selection of honorable mentions and a top 5, but we don't know which order they are in. So I think we'll just read out Ian's honorable mentions to get us started.
Yeah. Which we did kind of say to ourselves, between us, we're just about to list about 100 just funny fucking movies that we thought of. Because this was, we both sort of like, we sat here before the podcast, didn't we? I think we said 5 or 6 different movies that were like, oh, this so nearly made top 5.
Yeah.
And we realised how hard, when we said, oh, let's just do 5, it's like, well, that made it really difficult.
That makes it harder. It actually makes it more difficult. So Ian's honorable mentions include Shaun of the Dead, Kung Pao, Kung Fu Hustle, Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Right, stop. Sorry, just one quick thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing where he's put Kung Pao and Kung Fu Hustle next to each other.
Is that
like they're in any way related.
Right. Is this Ian? This is Ian's list. This is an insight into the mind of Ian.
Yep.
Black Sheep. That's a weird one, Ian.
That is
What a
weird
question,
film,
that
but
one.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Uncle Buck.
Love that movie.
Three Amigos. How High?
Slash.
Don't be a menace to society while drinking your juice in the hood. Okay.
Not related.
No. Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs.
I'll let him have that one.
Yeah. Carry On Films, any of them with Kenneth Williams.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Airheads, California Man, Peter Sellers. Mystery Men, The Replacements, Dude, Where's My Car? Biodome, Evolution,
Fucking Biodome.
Austin Powers, Wayne's World, Bill and Ted.
The Replacements, what do you call that comedy movie? I mean,
No,
sports
it's a
comedy, I
sports
guess,
drama.
Right? It's a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it has got
Keanu
some very
Reeves,
funny
yeah.
bits in it, though.
Yeah.
And it did have the official dance of the house when we were in there, to be fair to
Yeah.
Will Survive. So there's a little insight for you. Okay, I watched Evolution the other day. It's still fucking great.
Oh, it's Ivan Reitman, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So, that was Ian's honourable mentions. I'll jump over to mine, Andy.
Go for it.
Alrighty, so again, these are in no particular order, they're just honourable mentions. Some of these were initially on my top 5 list, but they got dropped out, and my selection, my internal selection for these films were films that actually make me belly laugh out loud. Not just, that's funny, but can't control myself laughing. So some of these films I think are better than them on my top 5 for other reasons, but not for comedy. So The Big Lebowski from 1998, Naked Gun 1988, Dumb and Dumber 1994, Ghostbusters 1984, Blazing Saddles 1974, Ace Ventura Pet Detective from 94,
Funny shit.
Harold and Maude from 71,
Oh my god.
Local Hero from 1983, Hot Fuzz 2007, National Lampoon's Vacation, although pretty much just said any National Lampoon, Super Troopers from 2001, Police Academy 1984, Galaxy Quest 1999,
Galaxy Quest.
Beetlejuice 1988, What We Do in the Shadows 2014,
Great film.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit 1988, Clerks 1994, Team America World Police 2004, and Idle Hands 1999.
Idle Hands is such an underrated gem of a movie.
It is, but I was just like,
Gem
it's
of a
great.
movie.
I love it. Like, of all of the stoner comedies, like, because this one's horror as well.
Yeah.
And Seth Green and
Oh, it's up there, man.
it's a sleeper that not many people know about. So yeah, but Idle Hands, it was in my list and then just got bumped off eventually. Andy, your honourable mention.
So I've kind of done a similar thing. So again, like a few of these were nearly in the top 5, and I went for like I tried to go for straight comedy. So like we talked about, like say Ghostbusters, for example, and yours, like I treated that as kind of as a bit more of an action comedy maybe. Like I would sort of like say one of my funniest movies of all time is like Beverly Hills Cop, but I'm putting that more as an action comedy. So I've tried to go for straight what I would consider comedy. So honourable mention, so Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is one of my favourite movies of all time. With,
Nice.
Michael Caine and Steve Martin, absolutely love it. The Hangover trilogy, Lord Diminishing Returns, but funny. So that first one's fucking hilarious. The Burbs, love that movie. I love that movie so much.
I know everyone does.
Perfect Sunday movie. Cable Guy,
Oh yes.
fucking mental,
Yeah.
mental. Some Like It Hot. It still fucking holds
Classic,
up. It's still
yeah.
a funny fucking movie. The Cornetto trilogy, obviously, as well. I absolutely love. And
Sure.
I think actually Hot Fuzz might be my favourite out of the 3.
It is my favourite of the
Maybe
three
because
too.
we could almost go there now.
Yes, yeah, right.
Like, it wouldn't take long for us to go there. Hot Shots.
Oh
Honestly,
no!
so
why isn't
very
Hot Shots on
nearly
my list?
ended up in my top 5.
Yes, Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh my god, because and Aeroplane,
Yeah.
National Lampoon's. I put Loaded Weapon 1.
Oh yeah, great.
I'm a
Great.
huge fan of spoofs. Apparently, I didn't even know it. Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Probably Law of Diminishing Returns again, but still great. I put Galaxy Quest. Because
Yeah, we both got it in our
Our
honorables.
last hope. It's still it still holds up. Spaceballs, obviously, again, great parody. Pineapple Express and any of the Judd Apatow, any of the Seth Rogen movies from that era.
Yeah.
Coming to America.
Nice. Yeah.
The Great Outdoors is one of my absolute favorites. And also Team America is just fucking.
It's so quotable. It's so memorable.
That's absolutely one of the things that gets it in there. It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Python films as well.
Yeah. So I mean, if you didn't hear your film there, that was just our honourable mentions.
That doesn't mean we think it's shit.
Exactly.
Calm down. It's just we'd be here all fucking night.
Exactly. So I think we'll go into Ian's. Well, I think we'll just do all of Ian's, and then we'll back and forth because we don't know what Ian's orders are in.
True.
And he has
And
6
he did
films.
6.
So, in no particular order, this is Ian's top 6 favourite and best comedies of all time. Naked Gun, Police Academy, Tommy Boy / Joe Dirt,
Not related.
Ready to
I
Rumble,
fucking love Joe Dirt.
Monty Python's Holy Grail. So some absolute bangers in there.
Won't argue with a single one of those being in a top 6.
I honestly, personally, Ready to Rumble and Tommy Boy and Joe Dirt, no.
I love Ready to Rumble. It's fucking stupid as fuck.
Yeah, I could watch that one again, but definitely Joe Dirt. I thought it was funny the first time around. The second time I watched it, I couldn't wait for it to end.
The only thing, I've not watched the sequel.
I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, I only found this out recently.
Oh, no.
But I've not watched the sequel.
So,
Cool.
Ian, that was Ian's contribution. Thank you, Ian. Alrighty, so
Did you want to
let's
start
do.
with your
Sure,
fifth?
I'll start
Yeah?
with my number
for it.
5, and this is Super from 2010, director James Gunn. The story follows after his wife falls under the influence of a drug dealer, an everyday guy transforms himself into Crimson Bolt, a superhero with the best intentions, but lacking in heroic skills. Stars Rainn Wilson, Elliot Page, Liv Tyler, Kevin Bacon, Nathan Fillion, and of course, Michael Rooker. And now, this film released in the shadow of Kick-Ass, and subsequently did not get as many eyeballs on this as Kick-Ass did, which I think is a real shame, because this film has been endlessly rewatchable for me, and I get great joy watching others discover this film for the first time. It becomes more and more refreshing for me in the wake of the superhero-dominated decade of cinema. Super is funny.
You get the feeling if it was released now,
Yeah.
it would do so much.
I think it would do
more.
so much better, which is why, I'd
As in,
like
if you
people
didn't
to
get,
go
you
see
wouldn't
this.
get. I don't think you'd get Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly.
if it weren't for
Without
this.
Super,
Yeah.
yeah, because it pushed the boundaries of R-rated superhero comedy, which is also offensive
Rob
in
Zombie
places.
played God in that one as well. I think when he does the fucking thing, is that Rob Zombie voice? As
What
well, I think?
in Super? No, isn't Nathan Fillion?
He's the God
Oh, he's-
character.
yeah, so
isn't he?
yeah, it is
I
Rob.
think it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Rob Zombie,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's so fucked up.
So yeah, Super is funny. It's challenging, shocking, disgusting, and surprising. It's funny and it's cringy and it is laugh out loud crazy.
Quotable as fuck.
I've listed some of my best scenes. Shut up, crime! the montage of, you don't butt in line, you don't sell drugs, you don't molest little children, you don't profit on the misery of others. The rules were set a long time ago. They don't change. I love it. Liv Tyler's face in the vomit in the toilet bowl. Nathan Fillion is the angelic TV superhero. Elliot Page's overexcited and enthusiastic Libby, the sidekick. And the scene where they go out to fight crime and nothing happens. It's just a slice of reality and then a slice of the extreme. It's James Gunn. I talk about him all the time. This is, for me, his funniest movie.
I love the fucking scene where he's like talking about how he needs a weapon.
Yes.
He's like, and he's the whole thing is sort of, it's going through the like, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be elegant, it's got to be stealthy, it's got to be this, that, and the other, and then he just gets a huge fucking wrench. Smashes a melon with it and goes, yeah, that'll do. And that's what he fucking uses.
Gordon Freeman to be proud.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon, isn't it?
Kevin Bacon is the villain.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so funny.
So yeah, endlessly rewatchable for me. Super, highly recommend it. Of course,
that is a great movie. Yeah. My number 5 is one that actually we all, including Ian, went to see together, which is Super Troopers.
Nice. Yeah, it was an honorable mention for me. Super Troopers.
That movie. Big fan of the Broken Lizards guys. I even like Beer Fest that they did together. Super Troopers is definitely their best movie.
Yes, without a doubt.
But they're a great group of guys with some really great scripts. So Super Troopers is sort of set. I believe, is it set between like the border of Canada and America? Isn't it? Like, and they're kind of like patrolling the highway, and it's about, you got one group of troopers, and then you got the state troopers.
They're in competition,
going at each other. One of them's gonna get shut down, but none of them really obey the letter of the law.
The right meow scene is always the first one that
when
pops
they
up.
start, they'll pull over people and play certain games with them, which is like, you got to say meow at certain times, and he's like, license registration, hurry up, meow.
What did you just say?
Yeah,
meow?
like, you say meow? Am I saying meow? I'm like, oh my god. My wife's a wonderful person. Please don't take this like she isn't. One of her favourite things to yell at me if I ask if she's okay, based on the scene where Mac he's got a bulletproof cod piece on at the range,
right?
And he gets shot in it, and they ask him if he's okay. So if I'm in the house and I'm like, baby, you okay? You will regularly hear from another room, good enough to fuck your mother. She loves my mother, I swear. But, oh my god, it's I think I've gone through a VHS copy of it, a DVD copy of it, and a Blu-ray copy of it, because I've just watched it ad nauseum. There's a phenomenal. There's the world's greatest Halloween costume ever in it, with the bear.
Yes. Oh God, no.
I won't spoil it if you've not seen it. If you've seen it, you know. And one of the most phenomenal sort of like just brilliant drunken fights at the end. Which I absolutely love. I will never get bored of watching that movie. I absolutely love Super Troopers.
I also would just like to bring up the sequel, which was
See, I wasn't gonna.
yeah, you probably I probably shouldn't. It's probably not worth bringing up. But yeah, waited so many years for it. So much talk of them wanting to do a follow up, and they eventually got round to doing it, and
it was disappointing.
It was so lackluster. It was. I was in the cinema at the time, and it was just empty screening after empty screening.
They didn't have a lot of good jokes in it, unfortunately.
Word of mouth
but it doesn't detrakt from that first one, man.
It doesn't. That one holds up.
One's fucking great,
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I'd highly recommend seeking it out if you haven't seen it, and I would say I'd give Beer Fest a go as well if you enjoy that cast.
Yeah,
because they're very good in that.
Yeah. Alrighty, so moving on to my number 4. This one is the one that comes straight from the heart from director John Hughes. And no matter how many times I watch this film, it still brings a smile to my face, still brings tears to my eyes. It goes through the gambit of emotions with this film. And that's Planes, Trains and Automobiles from 1987. And the story follows a Chicago advertising man that must struggle to travel home from New York for Thanksgiving with a lovable oaf of a shower curtain ring salesman as his only companion. Steve Martin, John Candy, just absolutely amazing. Best scenes for me from the film: the moment the two of them meet at the airport to the moment they carry the case to Neil Page's home, and everything in between. Honestly, the whole movie.
The whole movie's my favourite scene.
The whole movie's my favourite scene. I just can't say enough. But if I have to, I'm going to say the morning in the hotel. Where's your hand? It's between two pillows.
Yeah.
Those aren't pillows. The burnt out car, the devil transition when they're going the wrong way, like the whole sequence where he's playing.
They go between the two
trucks. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Like when he's drying his face with what he thinks is a towel, and it unfolds it into a fucking giant wire fronts.
Yeah, the shower curtain sale montage, the frozen backseat ride with Otis, even the scenes where they're having a go at each other and arguing, like, even if where the film's going,
it sets the standard for films like that going.
It does, yeah. The perfect road trip template is Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Absolutely.
And of course, It's my favorite John Candy film. It's my favorite Steve Martin film. Even though I may not laugh out loud as much anymore with this film, it hits in all the right places, and the nostalgia of rewatching it almost every year, even though we don't celebrate Thanksgiving over here, I feel the message in this film, you know, about family and friendship and connecting with someone. And
It's kind of because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving, it's almost become like a pseudo Christmas movie for us
almost,
here,
yes,
it's like
absolutely,
not a Christmas movie, but a movie you watch at Christmas, and
yeah,
absolutely,
so yeah, just such a wholesome
phenomenal
film.
performance.
I love it so much. That was my number 4, Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Such a good movie. My number 4 is Naked Gun.
Wow.
I'm gonna say the first one, but those 3 movies for me, fucking again, I love spoofs. Apparently, I was in love with Police Squad. So
right.
That was the series. If you didn't know, that was the series that preceded it, which we watched over here on free TV on like BBC Two or something.
Yeah.
And they were like kind of like shorts, really. I don't even think they were like 30 minutes long. They were like 20-minute episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when they brought out the Naked Gun, it is absolutely top tier spoof comedy.
It's like they've distilled all the jokes down
how
to
the fuck
perfection.
We are still able to laugh at O.J. Simpson.
I know,
as well,
I know.
Is mad. So it is literally just this inept police detective Frank Drebin, who's tasked with some kind of like high profile case or job that he's completely unqualified to deal with. In each of the movies, that's basically it, and it's just joke after joke after joke after joke. It's like the Saturday Night Live era of just poking fun at every little thing that goes on. The first one, the reason it probably stands out for me is mostly for the again favorite scenes. One, I do get across over a little bit, so I might be right. Like I believe is the first one with O.J. Simpson, where he kicks the door in, and he goes to kick in the door of this boat. And just puts his foot through the fucking door.
Right.
So while he's doing that, 20 guys start pulling out guns while he's fumbling with the door, and he finally gets it open, walks in, he's like, police, throw down your guns. One fucking dude throws his gun down, and all of them turn to him like, pick your fucking gun up. But definitely the first one, absolutely something that will make me laugh. So I'm going to struggle to get through this. Is he infiltrates a baseball game and takes over as the umpire. And when he learns that the crowd will cheer when he gives a strike, proceeds to give the most animated strike calls you've ever fucking seen, yelling at the top. He's like, strike 2. Oh my god. We watched it again recently. I was gone as soon as it started. That's it. I'm streaming.
It's the music. It
goes into a montage. It's phenomenal. Freaking what's her name? Priscilla Presley's in it, for goodness sake, isn't she? And,
I need to. It's been a while since I've seen Top
Naked Gun. Gun. It's absolutely just a phenomenal set of movies. I absolutely love them. They carried on the intro as well, which I love, with the whole police squad, where it's a camera with a police siren going through dudes. One thing is on the road, the next is in a girl shower. And it's no rhyme or fucking reason, man. It's absolutely brilliant. It's one-liner city. The safe sex bit. Still, I remember as a kid, I was like, I was almost scarred for life as a kid, because I was like, oh, that's what they do.
Right, that's protection.
So that's what a condom is. Okay, maybe this isn't all funny. I don't know. Naked Gun, I'll watch all day, every day.
Nice, yeah. Alrighty, so I'm on to my number 3. Third favorite best comedy film of all time for me goes to Airplane from 1980. For me,
we love spoofs.
We love spoofs. Like, it was the golden age of spoofs, man. 3 directors for this one: Jim Abrahams, David Zucker, and Jerry Zucker. And the story follows a man afraid to fly must ensure that a plane lands safely after the pilots become sick. So this film is literally just gag central. There are gags happening in the forefront, while there are gags happening in the background, while there are gags happening in the audio in the background.
And another Leslie Nielsen performance as well.
And another Leslie Nielsen, exactly. So it's either Top Gun or Airplane for me, and I fall on the side of Airplane because I love the ensemble.
Hot Shots.
And Hot Shots,
Hot
exactly.
Shots Airplane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? Because, of course, you've got Lloyd Bridges.
Yes.
In that, and Hot Shots. Obviously, Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, Dad, yeah. It's like I chose the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Oh my god. And he just plays the same character in Airplane as he does in Hot Shots.
Yes.
the shit that man comes out with when he's like, I think the one me and Ian talked about is it's in Hot Shots, where he's like he's looking at a painting as an Air Force commander, and it's like the painting of like an airfield.
Yeah.
Look at, no one's doing anything down there. Look at that guy just stood around. Hey,
He's yelling at the picture.
Oh my god! There's what was it when he comes down? He falls down a bunch of stairs on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
And he does this amazing like turn, just stands up like nothing happened. He's like, who put that crab there? And the guy's with me. He's like, what crabs? Don't tell me there wasn't a crab. There are two crabs. They work in pairs. Just shit like this that he comes out with. What? And he just sells it so well and so deadpan throughout all of it. You know, the injuries that he comes, he puts the thing through his ears, like you know, everything. He's like, I lost my eardrums in Nam. And he's like, fucking flosses.
Yeah, from the bloody autopilot that they put on.
Autopilot is such a classic gag.
Just wanted to wish you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
Don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley. The Pinocchio nose. I love the skit where
the
all
two
of
little kids.
The two little kids,
take
yeah.
My coffee,
I take my coffee
like my
black.
men black.
I like my men, yeah. What? I love the skit where all of the passengers sat next to him are all committing suicide while he recounts this love story. I love the bit where you've got the uncontrollable lady who's just having a breakdown, and you've got the queue of people all queuing up to just punch her, smack her with a crowbar. Got the old lady with a gun.
Guy's got boxing gloves on, he's like warming up.
I love the bit in the cockpit where they're all like, what's your Victor? Victor? Roger, Roger? Like, what? Who? Huh? It's just literally, the more you think about this film, you just see scenes in clips. Like the Jaws spoof at the beginning.
Well.
The plane over the clouds.
Tail. Yeah, I forgot about that. Airplane 2, the sequel.
I was never a big fan of the second one. It didn't.
It just wasn't as good at the end of the day. It just wasn't as good. It's hard to capture lightning in a bottle twice. To be honest, you know.
Absolutely.
I will give Hot Shots the fucking nod on that for being two great movies. Actually.
Yeah, one after the other. Yeah, I've got the shit hitting the fan. Like, for real?
Oh, God. So when he's sweating,
yeah,
so it becomes ridiculous.
Yeah, just, it's good. Yeah, so, Airplane, my number 3.
I'll throw another one out with there as well, which is another Leslie Nielsen one. So obviously this is the thing, was when he did Repossessed.
Yes, yeah, the Exorcist spoof, kind of.
Which they got Linda Blair in for as well.
Yeah.
So clearly she was like, I give no fucks.
Yeah.
Genius. Oh my God, I loved it.
Alright, Andy, number 3.
Speaking of movies where it's like great first movie, not so great a sequel, but my number 3, it's a little bit cliche at these points, but fucking Anchorman. I love that movie. I know you don't.
This is the first time we're disagreeing tonight. I know, but it's not a bad thing.
But
that's comedy for us, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember going to watch that in the cinema in Sheffield with my wife when it first came out. So we're definitely, I don't even know what year it is, but we're going back like around. I think we were living in the shared house when that film came, because I know that film was played a lot in that shared house. Oh, it was, man. But before memes, all we did was sit around and scream Anchorman quotes at each other, alright?
Yes, I know, you did.
Just as a comedy movie, though, me personally, yeah, it's one of characters wise. Oh my God, it's phenomenal. Obviously, if you don't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know about Anchorman in this day and age, but you know,
would you say it's like Will Ferrell's best movie, or for you, his best comedy?
His most fucking well known one, isn't it? Yeah. For sure. Probably. I mean, it's certainly the one that that greenlit them to make 20 Will Ferrell movies back to back to back, didn't they?
Who's his most common co-star? It's
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly.
I would say Step Brothers is probably. Maybe Step Brothers, which should probably be on honourable mentions, is up there as well as one of my favourites. But I just think Anchorman to me is because it's more
an iconic
comic
character.
Yeah, it's more comic. You've got obviously, you know, I love movies set in the 70s and stuff as well. And when they spoof that, the cameos are great. Step Brothers is amazing, but it doesn't have the fight in it that Anchorman has when they all get together in the alleyway.
I only got like half an hour into Anchorman. I know.
Couldn't do it. They have a fight between like 4 or 5 different news groups, and each time they bring in a new one in, there's like a cameo, like Ben Stiller's in it and stuff like that. They almost overdid it in the sequel. Like fucking Liam Neeson and Will Smith are in it, for God's sake. Kanye West is in it. It's fucked up. But that first one is for me one of the most instantly quotable movies. It's one that I enjoyed with my wife to this day as well. And it's a really interesting one if you watch it as well, because if you get like the Blu-ray version of it as well, they basically made the movie twice. There's a whole other version of Anchorman that they made and then just scrapped.
In what sense?
The plot is completely different. They end up going to like the woods at some point, getting lost in the woods, and I mean, you've got early performances from Steve Carell now, who's like obviously huge, as he did like the American version of The Office and such as well. Obviously, Ant-Man's in it. Paul Rudd. Looks the same age.
He's never aged.
So you've got some really big actors that are in it.
So what happened with the second one then?
I think they just scrapped it. I'll be honest, I've not watched it for ages, so I'll be speaking out of turn. I won't really know. You can watch the majority of that movie cut together on like a Blu-ray or a DVD copy of it. It's just really weird. But
yeah, Will Ferrell's never been. I've never really enjoyed his films.
I talk to him, people seem to either love him or hate him. To be fair.
Now, I understand. I have seen
The Other Guys is a great fucking movie.
I really like The Other Guys. And that was who's his? It's Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, he was another one that I'm just like.
That was the original cast. That was originally what's the Kevin Smith one with Tracy Morgan and Bruce Willis.
The Cop Out. Yeah.
So originally, that's the film they were making was The Other Guys. They were doing it with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And then they basically went across the road to the other studio and made a buddy cop movie called The Other Guys, and then that's when they brought them in.
Yeah. The Other Guys. That's the one Will Ferrell movie that I'm like, that works in the comedy sense. I also liked Will Ferrell in the Lego Movie. I thought he brought a level of humanity to that role, which was great as the dad, and of course the main villain in the film. But I've only seen it once, a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But there was another one as well that he did. It's a comedy, but more of a drama, and I've forgotten the name of it.
The one where he takes all his shit out into the front garden because he's having a divorce or something like that.
Stranger Than Fiction is the one.
Where he's
it's the one where he can hear a narrator narrating.
Emma Thompson, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was the film that broke my barrier down to appreciate Will Ferrell as a performer, as an actor. And I'm like, he's got some range, and his face says a lot. It's it's layered and wrinkled, and he's interesting to look at. But then I see him I feel wasting his potential in crap like Step Brothers.
I love Step Brothers.
I know you do. I'm sort of like,
come on, man! Like, you have to call me Dragon. You have to call me Nighthawk. That's fucking funny.
Yeah. So.
But no, I gotta go with Anchorman. I may even give it the edge just for fucking Steve Carell as Brick with the shit that he comes out with. I love Lamp, all that stuff. Killed a guy with a trident. That everything about it absolutely just screams classic to me now. Nice.
Alrighty, so I think we're on to our top twos.
Yeah.
Alrighty, now this one wasn't even originally on my list. I tried to go with just pure comedy. Otherwise, many times people have asked me, what's my favorite comedy of all time? I'm like, Evil Dead 2.
Good shout.
But then when I'm putting this list together, I'm like, I want to go for at least as much as I can for family orientated comedy films, or general speaking, just comedy. It's just own bracket. Because then otherwise you end up with sci-fi comedy, sci-fi horror, sci-fi musical, sci-fi all sorts of comedies. I was like, comedy though, it's all encompassing. So even if I do pick those other ones, but I was like, I'm just gonna choose everything but Evil Dead 2, and this is where my second pick came from, which is Brain Dead, also known as Dead Alive, which released in 1992 by director Peter Jackson. And the story follows a young man's mother is bitten by a Sumatran rat monkey. She gets sick and dies, at which time she comes back to life, killing and eating dogs, nurses, friends, and neighbors.
It's fucking disgusting.
It's absolutely revolting and hilarious at the same time. I've written down a couple of my favorite scenes. One of them, I love the entire sequence. I kick ass for the Lord, where he then proceeds to do Bruce Lee martial arts and kicks the crap out of these zombies that have just risen up in the graveyard. Unbelievable. You have to see it to believe it.
This is the guy that made the Lord of the Rings movies.
You just will never believe it. You'll never believe it's the same guy.
When you was like, whoa, yeah, who's
From
this
Bad
guy?
Taste, Meet
what
the
did he do
Feebles.
before? The Frighteners, Bad Taste.
You're like, what?
He's directing what?
Who greenlit this?
Oh God,
Who
I
you
gotta know.
taking?
Yeah, I'd love to have seen that conversation.
Right.
Yeah, I got a guy.
Another favorite
Is he
scene.
the only person?
What? No pudding?
Oh,
She never makes the stuff. And then, of course, Velma proceeds to press into her open wound, and it spits
that fucking
gunk into his custard as he's eating it.
There's something about as well that, you know, obviously the New Zealand accent and
Yes.
the mannerisms as well.
It completely just adds to the charm and the
Yeah.
weirdness of it
Yeah.
all. Right? There's another favorite scene is when Velma's just eating the dog, and she turns to him and goes, "Lionel, your mother ate my dog," and he's pulling out the tail, and he just turns to her and goes, "Not all of it." He's like, "What?" And then, of course, the lawnmower party scene.
Hey, one of the most underrated weapons in zombie killing history.
Yes, I mean, I don't think the lawnmower would work quite as long as that. I mean,
Fucking worked in that movie.
it really. Then again, all of the zombies were literally just putting their limbs right into the blades.
They were,
They
yes.
just
asking for
but
it.
endlessly. But then that other guy, the biker guy's intestines comes out, and it's got a life of its own. You've got the baby thing that's running around as well, because
God, I forgot
the
about the
zombies
baby.
have a baby. Like the priest and the nurse get it on halfway through the film as zombies. It is unpredictable. It is wild. It is a labor of love, you know, right after Bad Taste. Like, Peter Jackson shot over weekends while he worked like 9 to 5 during the week, you know.
It's fucking dreadful. Everyone should watch it.
Absolutely. It is.
true.
And it is, again, you'll know from the get-go whether you're going to enjoy this film from the Zingaya. You got the bite. Yeah, and this guy getting his limbs cut off before it's revealed he's been bitten on the head as well. It's just mad. It is absolutely mad. But it has such a frenetic, fast energy about it as well. So even if some of the jokes make you go, well, it didn't quite land, the next one will, and it is so unpredictable. The first time watching it, you really don't know what you're in store for, and on every subsequent viewing it gets funnier and funnier. It really does.
He made Lord of the Rings.
And then he made the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Mad.
I forgot as well, actually, at the beginning of Brain Dead, where he gets the monkey, it's in Skull Island.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, foreshadowing, of course.
That's a good point. Yeah. Right. Fuck.
I wonder if that monkey had a cameo somewhere
All comes full circle. I have to
Kong.
rewatch it now.
I'm going to be looking for that monkey.
Okay, now that gross thing.
So that was my number 2.
Nice. That's a good pick, though. My number 2 is a movie that I watch every single year with a friend of mine. We always watch it at Christmas. It is a Christmas movie for us, anyway. And it's Trading Places.
Wow.
Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy in the classic...
I'm glad one of us has got a Dan Aykroyd film on our list.
Come on, dude. I mean, classic, crisscross movie where if you don't know, and again, what the fuck, but where we've got a Dan Aykroyd plays this successful stockbroker in Philadelphia, and Eddie Murphy is just a hustler living on the streets for the most part. And the owners of the company that Dan Aykroyd works for decide that they are going to put him into his place, trade, if you will, and bring Eddie Murphy's character into work for them after not even a botched robbery, a nothing robbery, but basically Eddie Murphy gets arrested. It is, again, one of my absolute favourite movies as a kid. It's one of the first movies that I watched, like, say, with my parents when I was clearly not age appropriate because there's bad language and some titties in it. So it's absolutely got that special place in my heart. But as I said, there's a friend of mine that every year we have to have a night where we watch it together because it's both of ours, like, one of our favorite comedy movies of all time. Eddie Murphy is on absolute point in this. This fourth wall breaks in this movie in a time where it wasn't. Dan Aykroyd, the performance that he gives as the stuffed shirt, top shelf, sort of like educated guy in his downgrade into poverty, backed up by, if you want to give an Oscar out to Jamie Lee Curtis for like best supporting actress, it should have been for this movie.
Yeah, right.
Because she's phenomenal playing a prostitute who takes him in and helps him get back to his feet. And obviously it all comes back full circle where they try then to come together. Another one where there's certain scenes in this movie that you just couldn't get away with today. There's a blackface scene on the train that Dan Aykroyd does, which stands out still as one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. It's absolutely brilliant. I still, after 30 years of watching it, watch what they do at the end and still don't quite understand the stock market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's absolutely going to live in infamy as one of my favorite, funniest movies of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's not like a joke after joke movie. It's mostly the performances and the scenarios that are so funny. The Dukes, are the older guys who get them to do this, and I fucking lost their names for God's sake. But their performances and the way they interact with each other are really funny. There's phenomenal commentary on like racism. When they're like, you go into this like men's club in Philadelphia that's part of this accountancy firm, and the last time we watched it, I paused it, rewound it. I said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Okay, I will give you money from my wallet if in this scene you can show me like one white servant and one black member, because it don't fucking exist. It's like all white old men being served by black men." I was like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of commentary about sort of like race, class.
Yeah.
The perception of like being homeless and everything like that. It is a fucking gem that I will watch every single year of my life at Christmas without fail.
It's been a while now since I've seen Trading Places, but now you've got me thinking of Dan Aykroyd films. I'm like, I want to rewatch The Great Outdoors. I want to rewatch Dragnet.
I don't want to, because there are still some incredible jokes in it and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. Eddie Murphy, the first time you meet him, he's playing a homeless vet with no legs.
No legs, yeah.
And he's like blind as well, so he's doing his best like Stevie Wonder, pushing himself along the floor trying to beg for money, and he like grabs this woman's dress, like, which again, like, you'd probably get Me Too'd for and stuff like that. Like, "We can make it, baby. I know what you're thinking. You ever seen Porky in Bed?" Just absolutely.
Oh dear. Great picks.
I love that movie.
Alrighty, so we're on to our number ones. So I'm just going to recap down. My number 5 was Super. Number 4, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Number 3, Airplane. Number 2, Brain Dead. My number 1 favorite comedy of all time is Monty Python and the Holy Grail from 1975 from director Terry Gilliam and Terry Jones. And the story follows King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table as they embark on a surreal, low-budget search for the Holy Grail, encountering many very silly obstacles. Best scenes for me, all of it. Every gag, every line, every edit, every musical note. Real highlights, though, the Camelot song, the Knights of the Round Table.
It's a very silly place.
We dance whenever we're able. Lancelot charging at the castle, where he's coming in to rescue who he thinks is a damsel in distress. And it's the scene where he's in the distance, he's just running. And it cuts back to the two guards and they're looking at each other. And looking back at him, and he's still in the same position. It cuts back to the guards, and it cuts back to him. And the repetition, and then the next shot, he's there and he stabs them both, and he runs in, and the guard goes, "Hey!" It's just the Black Knight, just like, just, "Come back, I'll bite your legs off."
I was saying to you earlier, we literally watched this 2 days ago, and I got the kids to sit down and watch it. She's
First time watching
it. She was struggling with it at first, because the first opening gag, you have to read the whole opening credits, don't you? So instantly she's like, "Oh, I've got to read, oh my god." As soon as she gets to the Black Knight, that's it. She's like, "Oh, I'm in."
It's because it has such different varied jokes, like whether it's a visual joke, a background joke, a word joke, a pun, a play on thing. I love the sequence where they're where he's got the sled of dead bodies and he throws his dad on and he's like, "I'm not dead." Yeah, we dead in a minute.
You do something.
I feel fine. I think I'll go for a walk. John Cleese just looks around and whacks him over the head. Throws his body on.
Palin plays the guy who starts going into all the politics, where he's like, "I'm your king." Well, I didn't vote for you.
Right. Well, you don't vote for kings.
Yeah.
So what?
It's because some watery bent through a scimitar at you.
Right.
Fucking brilliant. The use of animation as well, which is
Terry Gilliam.
Animation is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
How do you make a rabbit that dangerous? You know, it's fucking,
Look at the bones!
look at the bones! Oh my god, that's phenomenal. I remember watching that when I was a kid, and I obviously saw it. I think it came up on like, it was like a Channel 4 thing where they were profiling Monty Python. Like, you know, it was probably like X amount of years after it was like released. Or something. Oh my god, it was. It's fucking phenomenal, and it is still. I think a lot of people sort of like tend to go to like Life of Brian. I think is like their best movie.
I know,
and I know that there's also like that's got the boost of the controversy that followed it.
Does. It really does.
But I do think Monty Python is the funniest one out of
the
all
Holy
of them.
Grail. Yeah, I think so.
Holy Grail is the funniest Monty Python.
Like all of the cast, I mean, there were tensions on the set. Like, there's many a commentary or behind the scenes interviews where, like, the two Terrys were falling out because one Terry, you know, Gilliam was perfectionist in every shot, and Terry Jones was like, stand there, do the line, done, wrapped, let's go. And you know, Gilliam would be like, again, you know. And so there was tensions, there was fallings out. They were under budget, they were in freezing conditions, and so it's really a miracle they got that film made as well. And yeah, of course, Monty Python and the Flying Circus, all of their skit shows.
It looks guerrilla as fuck as well. When you're watching
it really
you know
is.
what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they originally wanted horses. It was like, can't afford horses, can't afford training. What do we do? Coconuts.
Yeah.
You know, it's like having
Let's turn it into a joke.
forcing them to
You're
be on a
using
budget.
coconuts.
It forced them to be imaginative and create even more jokes. You know, brave Sir Robin, the knights who say knee, the bridge keeper who asks them their questions. What is your favourite colour? What is the
Airspeed velocity of an unladen
swallow? Right? It's like, what? I don't know that.
When Cleese is playing the sorcerer and he's like, there's some who call me Tim. It's so fucking quotable, man.
Right up to the end where they're storming the castle to get the Grail and the police turn up.
Because of the guy they killed
the
earlier.
historian. Yeah.
John!
That's
a good point in chat. It is literally, it ends as they ran out of money.
Yes,
it's like,
absolutely
it
does,
literally cuts to black like Sopranos.
Yeah.
Next time you watch the end of Sopranos, it's like, fucking Monty Python did it first.
The first time I ever watched this film, it was on a bootleg VHS. So I was just like, what happened at the end?
Did they not record the end?
Yeah, I was like, did they not record the end? So obviously when I finally got it on VHS, I got it for Christmas one time on VHS, and I got to the end and I was like, it does end that way.
Do you remember the first time you played like Worms Armageddon and you had the Holy Hand Grenade as a weapon?
Right, the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. You must count to 3. 4 is out. 5 is right out. You do proceed to 3, which proceeds to.
Brilliant.
It's amazing.
Farcical. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I
well
cry
deserved, dude.
laughing every time without fail. So it never disappoints.
Yeah, like I said, I watched it 2 days ago and it still holds up.
Awesome. That's like, amazing.
You know, I'll recap. So my number 5 was Super Troopers. Number 4, Naked Gun. Number 3 was Anchorman. Number 2 was Trading Places. So my number 1 is again a movie that I watched fairly recently, and again, as I've said a million times in this list, it's absolutely a film where I'm like, you just couldn't make it in this day and age, and I'm a big fan of that because I think we're all a bunch of bitches now, and like everything offends everyone, and I'm all up for something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable and makes you think, because you know you tend to come out the end of it and realize things aren't exactly that bad, are they? And it's fucking Tropic Thunder. I love that movie. So obviously, no, you couldn't get away with making it now.
Robert Downey Jr. retrospectively got into trouble for it.
Not even doing. That's like a whole new level of blackface.
Yeah.
And people miss the gag, the fact that it's like he's technically not playing blackface. He's playing a New Zealander with blonde hair and blue eyes. Who is playing blackface,
right?
So it's okay. The conversation, the fact that, I mean, I'm not saying this to offend people, I'm doing it for the part of the movie. The fact you can't even use the word "thank you, chat." You never go full retard.
Right.
You know, that conversation that he has with Ben Stiller, who, again, puts in one of the most politically incorrect performances,
right.
which I will fucking give to him as well. He refused to apologise for recently.
Yeah.
You know, he was told to apologise for it and was like, absolutely not, you know?
Yeah.
It follows, you know, to get ahead, I'm following, the whole movie is a film within a film. So it follows this haphazard war movie that's being made. You've got Nick Nolte playing this apparent guy who survived, this horrific shit during Vietnam, and they're making the film of his life, and it's a complete shit show. And I ain't even got to the best bit yet. It's a complete shit show. Steve Coogan's playing the director, and he decides, I'm going to put him in the shit. I'm actually going to drop him off in the jungle and tell him that I'm filming them with cameras everywhere and they'll never see me. And he ends up dying. They don't know it. They think it's all part of the movie, and they end up trekking through this horrific jungle, getting really shot at with their fake guns and stuff.
Right.
The absolute biggest surprise in this movie that caught everyone off guard is the incredible performance by Tom Cruise.
Yeah. He is under so much makeup.
Yeah, who he is in a fat suit, which again, got in trouble for because he's making fun of fat people. It's like, no, he's just fat in this. And he plays this horrific movie executive who I think in retrospect might have been a little bit maybe, based on Weinstein,
Miramax.
doing just playing the most horrific human being who's ever lived. No sort of regard for human life at all. Just wants to make money and get this done. I can't recommend it enough because the jokes in it themselves, the physical jokes are brilliant. It's actually really well shot as well, I think.
Yeah, I'd give you that. Yeah.
But there's a point in it. You know something's funny when you've seen it before, and it's coming up, and you start saying it out loud, and you're laughing before they've even got there. And it's like there's a point in it for me where because the whole point with Robert Downey Jr.'s character is he refuses to break character.
Yeah.
So he's talking like this, all the way through it.
Even when they're not recording. One of the actual, members of the cast who is African American is like, why are you still talking like that? I don't break character till I do DVD commentary. Classic joke. There's a point where he's trying to get the map off of Ben Stiller's character, and he won't give him the map. And so he decides he's going to engage him, and he's like, Ben Stiller's in phenomenal shape in this movie as well. Yeah, he's ripped. Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he's sort of like, man, look at you. You just look like Rambo. Not like Rambo 1, but Rambo 2 when he was all ripped. And he's like, oh, thanks. It's pretty nice. He's like, you got any tips? I'm trying to come out. He's pretending like he's listening to me. He's like, give me the fucking map. He just snatches it off him. I'm saying that out loud as I'm watching it in absolute guffaws. Because I was like, fucking hell, this is one of the best jokes I've ever heard in my life. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, it did fairly well and everything, but it was just such a break from so many people. More obviously Tom Cruise, who hits one of the greatest dance scenes as well, by the way.
Isn't that is it credits or during the credits scene?
During
he's
the
doing
credits,
the dance.
he's dancing, yeah.
And it keeps you sat there.
McConaughey's in it. Matthew McConaughey is an amazing turn. Bill Hader, who's his assistant, who is phenomenal in it.
Yep.
Danny McBride pops up as a the explosions guy.
Pyrotechnics dude,
just banging out one-liners like he does, just to every little thing that he says is a little bit of genius, if you enjoy that kind of thing. So. And again, the most important thing is you couldn't even get it made now. Even if you could make an argument to say that there's enough people out there that would take it for what it is, no one would take the risk. And I think it's important to keep these movies around.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't let them bury these movies. Yeah. Because they deserve so much more attention for actually having some fucking balls.
They're challenging, and if you're mature enough, you know what the line is.
Yeah, exactly. You know what they're trying to say all the way through it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Jack Black, I didn't mention who's in it, who does a great turn as sort of playing like an overinflated version of himself, really.
Pretty much,
but a heroin addicted version of himself. It's never ending. The whole movie to me was just sort of it was just moment after moment of actual comic genius to me. Just all wrapped up in this film where I'm just sort of this is rarefied air. We're not going to get this again. I can't ever see a movie like it being made again.
You putting it as your number one comedy, it makes me I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I need to revisit it again. I've seen it twice. I need to watch it a third time now.
Simple Jack. Oh my god. When Robert Downey Jr. is doing the where he's speaking, I think he's speaking, I don't know if it's Korean, so I'm going to get myself in trouble. I don't know what. He's speaking a foreign language, still in the accent.
Right.
I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker. Oh my god. It is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, some great comedians and great actors as well that you wouldn't necessarily expect.
Huge cast.
Yeah, and a huge cast. great spectacle as well. So you kind of get your war movie and your comedy too.
Yeah, you still do get it. There's the bit with the panda breaks me when he sort of like Ben Stiller ends up with like a kind of pseudo adopted kid who then he's sort of like running, the kid's fucking stabbing him on the back and he just fucking hurls him off the bridge. Fucking brilliant. I absolutely love it. I'll never not watch that movie.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed listening to our top picks for our favorite comedies of all time. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will be answering your questions. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the third part of the podcast where we will be answering your questions.
Yeah.
First question is from David Allen Evans.
What up, David?
Hey, fellas. Usually I hit you up with a downer question, but for once, I'm going to be jovial. Question is, do you think there's such a thing as an unwatchable John Carpenter film? Because I think no. I recently rewatched Escape from LA, and while it was has many things wrong with it, I had a lot of fun with it. Even Ghosts of Mars has, at the very least, a great soundtrack, and Jason Statham being the Stath. Laters.
Let's not make the Stath a thing.
No. I mean, I literally...
Unwatchable is a harsh
that's the
word.
worst.
That's so...
There isn't a single unwatchable John Carpenter film. There is... that man is so damn talented, even when he makes a stinker, where it all doesn't quite gel the way a Carpenter movie has done. It's still very, very watchable, because he is, from his music, from his cinematographer, to his edits, to his stories, to his characters. There's something interesting there. There's something always rewatchable with his movies. That being said, I still haven't seen his Elvis TV movie or The Ward, which was by and large his last movie. So
it's interesting that, like, reading the question, I'm sort of like, the first thing that popped in my head was Escape from LA.
Escape from LA. It's usually the one everyone hates the most.
For every surfing scene, there's a kick-ass, like, fucking we're gonna do, like, what's it, Saudi Rose, shoots everyone up.
That
and
basketball
then,
scene.
The basketball scene is okay. Yeah. I ain't got fucking no business being in that movie.
No.
But it's cool. And of course, you do have Bruce Campbell rocking up in it.
Yeah,
so,
he's unfortunately underused.
Underused. Ghost of Mars, I did like at the time, actually. Like, it's one of those on rewatches where I was like, yeah, this is kind of bad. But I actually really liked Ghost of Mars when it first came out, because like it had a bit of a almost had a bit of a Doom / 40K vibe to it, with the whole cultist thing. So yeah, I was okay with it. Plus, obviously, you had, is it Natasha
Henstridge,
coming off a Species? So I was still kind of like, I will watch shit with her in for reasons,
Chat saying Dark Star, like OG Carpenter. This is like film school Carpenter, But yeah, it's really rough around the edges. The thing is, it's still watchable because, like, you look at what budget they had and how imaginative they were with that no budget. To still get that put together.
Career out of saving films with a soundtrack.
Exactly. So
yeah, but you'll like this.
Go and see what he did with nothing, And so even has merits with being rewatchable in some capacity. But yeah, I would never ever put Carpenter anywhere near an unwatchable category in any sense.
Not at all.
No. Thank you for the question, though, David.
Good question.
Next question is from Howard Ryan.
Hey, Howard.
Favorite John Candy movie and why? Thanks for the content, guys. Favorite John Candy movie. I talked about it earlier. You guys know it now. It's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. John Candy in that film is incredible. Like the scene where Steve Martin, Neil Page, breaks him down and talks about all of the horrible things that he's done to him, or whether he's yammering on, or whether he's playing with his elastic strap, and and John Candy just looks to him and says, I like me, my friends like me, my wife likes me. It's like, God damn it, John Candy, man, just kills it. His performance, his subtlety, his innocence, just a beautiful, beautiful performance. And the scene at the end where he sat there looking at the portrait of his deceased wife, and the music's playing, that John Hughes soundtrack kicks in, and Neil Page comes back to pick him up, and his face, where he's like, he thought he had a friend, and he's like, I really screwed this up. But no, their friendship come together so well in that man, I get so broken up because one of my favorite comedians of all time, John Candy, and even though I don't like, Uncle Buck is fine, and his part in Home Alone is great, and and some of the I'm trying to think.
I like Uncle Buck. I do enjoy Uncle Buck.
The is it Cool Runnings? There's so many great movies, but we were deprived of the many movies he would have done since.
Oh God, no doubt. Yeah, taken way too soon. I'm gonna personally say Great Outdoors.
Nice.
Mostly for fucking Big Bear Chase Me. That's one of my favorite scenes. Another great Dan Aykroyd. Him and Dan Aykroyd in that movie is two of the. I'm like.
Are they brothers in that?
Brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law, yeah.
Obviously, I'm like, you know what? I think we were robbed of maybe like a great buddy. Cop movie between.
And I think John Candy was originally going to be in Ghostbusters as Lewis Tully.
Of course, yeah.
But I from the Grey Outdoors, I've immediately jumped to the steak scene where he's just like, you can eat the whole thing, and just the montage of just slowly.
Nothing left on that, so fat and gristle. And he's like, He's like, bear down. I love that. I love that movie, and it's like I like the whole family dynamic of them coming together, and obviously you got the class divide, or what you think is a class divide. With the big successful Dan Aykroyd,
the wealthy family,
and fucking useless. And his wife's riding the fucking washing machine for kicks. That kind of stuff. I love that. That's another one that I will probably always watch around Christmas time as well.
Nice.
It's a holiday movie for me as well.
Yeah.
Love it.
Great. Thank you for the question, Howard.
Dude. Great question.
Next question is from Nick Louisi. One of these days, you idiots are going to laugh yourselves to death. Judge Doom. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? In the spirit of comedies, has there ever been a scene in a film that made you laugh so hard you damn near couldn't breathe and brought tears to your eyes? The scene in Neighbours 2, Sorority Rising, with the clown and the air horn, did that for me, as Chai Lucas can certainly attest. Cheers, brohams, and a happy belated St. Paddy's. Nice. Cheers, Nick.
We kind of just talked about a few of them, I suppose.
Yeah, like
that bit in Tropic Thunder always popped me.
Yeah, Airplane, Airplane and Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It will surprise me because I know all the jokes. For the most part, I know they're coming. But occasionally, so often,
up for it.
Exactly.
You set yourself up. You're it's coming.
But occasionally, sometimes the delivery will just surprise you again, and you just start laughing uncontrollably.
It's a really random one, but it does always make me laugh. You ever seen Throw Mama from the Train?
Yes,
with
yeah.
Crystal and Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Where he's like, his mother comes down in the middle of the night, and they're literally discussing everything, and he says to him his mother's like, "Who's this?" He's like, "It's Cousin Lou," or something. He's like, "You don't have a Cousin Lou." And he just looks at me. He's like, "You lied to me," and he hits him in the face with a frying pan. I'm gone. That's it. That makes me like physical comedy like that. I mean, like Bottom, for example, is something that like always the physical comedy in that.
You just reminded me of a film that would have been on my honourable mentions. This Is the End with Seth Rogen, and all of his like
where they play themselves and everything.
Play themselves during the apocalypse. Yeah, because that's another one of those films that had me bawling with laughter.
For a bit, that's like laugh out loud, and again, totally know what's coming. But when Craig Robinson breaks the fourth wall in Hot Tub Time Machine to say Hot Tub Time Machine, that makes me laugh every single time.
Yeah. Cheers for the question, Nick. Next question is from Natalie Holbert.
What's up, Natalie?
Hey guys, hope you're all well. Since you're doing a comedy special, my question is, what is the funniest or most embarrassing funny thing that has happened to each of you? Mine is from years ago on a packed school bus. We were crammed in and the bus gave a sudden lurch. I fell backwards on my arse, legs in the air, flashing my knickers to everyone. But it gets worse. In my mad scrabble to get myself up, I grabbed the nearest bus handrail. Except it wasn't a handrail. It was the crotch of a male school friend. Long story short, showed my knickers to a busload of people and used the erect private parts of a friend to haul myself up. Cringe level unlocked 100.
My most embarrassing moment is it was my dick she grabbed.
What?
No.
What are you doing on the school bus?
I'm thankful to say I got nothing like nearly close to that. Oh my god.
Yeah, especially in such a public fashion.
Yeah, Jesus. I just feel bad for you, Natalie, on that one.
Right.
Like, fair play.
I hope you've recovered.
Yeah, I'm glad you can clearly laugh about it. Now.
Right. And of course, tell the whole world via this podcast.
Do you know, honestly, I can't. I'm not pissed about because I don't want to tell a story. I just can't think of anything that horrific. Clearly, because I've almost got no fucks to give about embarrassing myself.
True,
Clearly, so
yeah.
I'm trying to think what is that bad. Like, listen, I've made a twat of myself multiple times when I've been hammered. You know,
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
same.
I've had accidents. I've fallen downstairs. I'll maybe answer for like one of Ian's is probably falling through my shower in the first house I bought and just fucking totaling it.
Yeah, I'll never
I think that was
forget.
Christmas Day.
I got one for Ian. An Ian story. I may have shared this one before, but this goes back way back, where I was living with a girlfriend, and Ian literally knocked on the door, like 9:30 in the evening. He's just like, "You all right?" I'm like, yeah, Ian, what do you want? He's like, "I need to use your bathroom." I'm like, all right. Okay. It was like, weird to see you here at this time. Goes into the bathroom. Vomits for about 10 minutes. I knock on, like, "You all right?" He comes out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going home now." It's like, "Oh, okay."
You're my hero. Yeah.
Just like, yeah. Just popped into my head. Sorry, I'm trying to think of an embarrassing, but it's not like, I mean, it's not really an embarrassing story. It's just,
Yeah, I can't. Honestly, yeah, I'm drawing a blank on stuff like I feel on the spot.
yeah.
Funniest thing that's happened to us like that.
I've been kicked in the crotch in public a couple of times and gone down. But that was also like martial arts
You're allowed
tournaments.
to go down on that.
Yeah.
You're allowed to hit the deck on that one for sure. I've got nothing that'll top our school bus story. It's too
And
good.
actually, it was a follow-on story is that I got kicked in the crotch twice in 2 different tournaments, which first time it ever happened to me, I got disqualified because I couldn't get back into the fight and none of the judges caught the kick, so I was the one that got disqualified. It happened the second year, and then after that, I got a box protector. And then after I got the box protector, I never got kicked in the crotch again. However, there's something else you have to do called a kata in martial arts, in karate, which is like it's not a fight, that's kumite, but a kata is where you do like a series of scripted moves.
It's how Daniel won the tournament at the end of the third one.
Right. And halfway through my kata, my box had come loose, the straps had all come loose, and it had fallen and rolled down my leg, so that when I did one of the kicks, I kicked my crotch protector into the air. And of course, it landed while I was still doing my kata, and there's just murmurs of laughter. I'm just like,
that's brutal.
yeah. But yeah, I guess like I don't want to go into any other.
I tell you, I'll give you one actually that you just reminded me of was when I had my I did a charity boxing match, which I think I've talked about on the podcast, and I was like, it became a whole thing because we were just about to go into it before lockdown happened, and then we had to wait for like a year, and then it got cancelled. So it's a fucking nightmare. But anyway, I said I was going to do it, so I did it. So we're there on the evening. And a friend of mine who was fighting in the opening fight comes to me, and my opponent, funnily enough, again, this is charity boxing, so it's kind of friendly. So me and my opponent, and he decided his ring walk is gonna be to the song The Candyman. And we're like, okay. So then he hands us a bag of sweets. Now this is, and you're talking like love hearts and stuff,
Right?
Okay,
They're pretty
so like
solid.
the little fucking, now this is important to the story, Gary.
Little bricks.
Hands us this bag, and I was like, "What do you want?" He's like, "I want you guys to come out with me and throw sweets into the crowd." And me and my pal were like, "This is the dumbest fucking like whatever, dude. Fine." So we come out, and so we're gingerly like. Because bear in mind, you come out and, you know, it's a boxing event, so people's all suited and booted. There are tables around ringside and stuff. It's all very nice. So we're like throwing these sweets out. And I just turn, as I'm on the walkway, I turn and underarm. It's not like I was like, wow! But I underarm through a pack of these love hearts. Oh, it's like slow motion. And they just hit this old woman in the face.
Oh no.
Like, right in the fucking face. And she was the grandmother of one of the guys who was boxing. And I was just, it's like as soon as it left my hand, I was like, oh no. Like, I just know where that is going. And she was not looking. So she's like mid-drink. And these pack of love hearts just drill her in the fucking face. And I instantly dropped all the sweets, got down off the thing, went immediately apologized. Was like, darling, I'm so sorry. My friend's a fucking idiot. Like, you know. bought her a drink, gave her a kiss, and like just slunk off into the back. I was just sort of like, and then I went as soon as I got out the back because like everyone had sort of met each other. The lad was like, Harrison, I just hit your nan in the face with some love hearts. And he was like, say that again. And I was like, no, that's exactly what happened, mate. I'm really sorry. I owe you a drink when I'm done. Fucking hell.
Nella in the chat's mentioning the drip story, which is the kitchen story. It's been told on the podcast before, so I'm not going to bring that one back up. Cheers for reminding me of that one, though, Nella. Alrighty, cheers for the question, Natalie.
Yeah, thanks for fucking opening old wounds.
Right. Next question is from Josh Delamont, who has a string of questions, so we'll answer them as best as we can. Do the questions have to be comedy themed? If so, okay. What's the funniest comedian and who's the worst comedian? Best comedy film of all time, worst comedy film of all time, best comedy show of all time, worst comedy show of all time.
Okay.
So 6 questions there.
All right. Okay.
Best comedian of all time.
That's really difficult because I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy, so it's hard for me to pick the funniest. I mean, I'm going to say that Dave Chappelle is probably the greatest of all time. I'm a huge fan of old Richard Pryor stuff, old Eddie Murphy stuff. Bill Hicks is one of my favourites as well, and George Carlin.
Help me out here, guys, because I suck with stand-up comedians. The only film I remember him being in was There's Something About Mary.
What? He's a stand-up comedian.
He's a stand-up comedian, but he has a part in that film.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember.
He's the one who Lee Evans. Thank you, Lee Evans.
Oh right, okay.
He's the one who sweats profusely
while
he's doing his routine.
I'd have got it straight away. Yeah. Lee Evans,
honestly, he's the one comedian who he only did a couple of shows, but I've watched the one the one show that he did. It's like an hour and a half routine. It floors me every time, even though I know the jokes and the routines. He is so charismatic. He's got such a expressive face and his voice.
He's got the Jim
He's got
Carrey
big
thing
ears,
going
on. But yeah, Lee Evans, my favorite, best comedian.
I do love the current guys as well. Like I mentioned, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura. Those guys as well that are going around the circuit at the minute. Are pretty. Rogan's good as well. A lot of people don't give Rogan the credit that he fucking should get to.
Yeah.
Worst, I'm gonna say, and my kid loves him, and I can't stand the fucking prick. Jack Whitehall. I can't stand that.
Yeah, I don't know him. I don't know him.
And someone just brought up Joey Diaz. Good fucking pull. Joey Diaz, maybe the funniest motherfucker walking the face of the planet. You just got to watch him. He is mental.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais is great.
So...
Patron saint of atheists.
Yes.
We love him. Worst comedian as well. Is it Russell Kane? He's a British comedian. God, he's fucking dreadful.
That's Russell Brand for me. If he
I haven't seen Russell Brand actually. He was quite funny. He's a smart guy.
I wouldn't say worse, but yeah, I don't know.
He's definitely an acquired taste, for sure.
I mean, the thing is, because I've been exposed to him more than most of the others, but
Stuart Lee's a great pull in the chat.
I don't know most of these.
Stuart Lee's fantastic. I was rewatching Fist of Fun the other day, actually. But, best comedy film, I guess.
We've done those.
Worst comedy film of all time. Well, you can pull
Step Brothers, Anchorman. Right.
Worst comedy film of all time. I mean, you can pull. From
Jack and Jill is the worst film of all time. It's not just the worst.
Yeah. I mean, even though I like some of Sandler's stuff, I'll probably go with that.
For comedy,
we talked about unwatchable earlier.
Best comedy show. I mean, Peacemaker, probably the most current.
Currently, yes. Yeah. I will always throw Only Fools and Horses in there.
Yeah.
It's best comedy show of all time for the most part. Worst is hard because if it was supposed to be a comedy show and I didn't like it, I turned it off, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know if there's anything that overrated. I mean,
for me, I guess the Family Guy spin-off, or even
American
just Family Guy, American Dad, and I think that
they're in that position of it's fucking what they on 300 collective episodes. You can't be that funny for that many episodes.
Yeah, I burn out.
There's some great ones, Comedy Holmes and Watson I didn't get more than 3 or 4 minutes into, I've got to admit. And again, I'm a fan of those too. But that was fucking bad. Good questions though.
Yeah, good question. Thank you, Josh. Next question is from Harry Stiglitz.
What's up, Harry?
On the subject of comedy films, what are your guys' opinions on the weird period in the 2000s of parody comedies? that's now seemed to have disappeared as a genre. I'm talking all the movies, scary movie, not another teen movie, disaster movie, and so on and so forth.
Sounds like the revival, wasn't it, of like the spoof?
It was, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it really was. But the thing is, it wasn't just the revival, it was the oversaturation of it after a while.
Blame the Wyans for this, I believe. The Wyans brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, you still got them as well, because now, Tyler Perry is kind of doing that whole thing, and they're fucking dreadful.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I didn't even like...
There were some good movies there.
I didn't even like Scary Movie when that came out. I get it.
Scary Movie 2 was pretty fucking funny.
I like, what's up? You know, I get it. There's
Take my strong hand. That's fucking funny.
There's moments. Okay, so retrospectively now, I like Scary Movie 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Because everything that followed, it got worse. It got lazy. It got cheap. It got repetitive. And like at least with like the classics like that we talked about parody wise, Top Gun, Airplane, so on and so forth, they have a through line story.
You keep saying
Hot
Top Gun.
Shots.
Hot Shots is the parody.
Yes,
Top Gun's not the comedy.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, that movie's so funny when that fucking dude doesn't eject properly.
Bang! Anyway, like those parody movies have a through line. They have a story. Like beyond Scary Movie 1 and 2, those movies stopped telling stories. They just went skits. Just went, let's skit like 100 different scenes from all the most recent
I was going
movies.
to say, they tried to make them current, didn't they?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
And like by the time we got
the
to
originals went back a
superhero
bit.
movies,
You had like the Poltergeist, references and stuff like that, I suppose. But yeah, it certainly became much more up to date, and it became a lot sort of like celebrity centric as well.
yes,
wasn't
absolutely,
it?
yeah. I mean, I think Chris Evans, like
Not another teen movie, he was in, wasn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, it was just so lazy.
Pardon me,
so
sorry.
when I go back now and see Scary Movie, I'm like, at least they tried. There was effort put in here. Like they tried to make something funny, but also tell a story and play up, scream primarily. But yeah, like beyond that, it just
parodying
got
themselves by the end of it.
it got so dreadful that I couldn't watch them. You know, they are painful.
I tapped out after 2.
watch.
Scary Movie 1 and 2, and then I tapped out.
So there's no
Not another
surprise that
teen
it
movie
went
was
away as
like
a genre.
all right, because it was parodying different movies. Like big one being that what was the American football movie? It was I was about to say Dawson's Creek because it's James Van Der Beek in it, but it's not that. Oh fuck! It's a good movie as well.
Yeah,
Chat will come out with it. I'm sure.
I'm sure.
But, yeah, it was again. It didn't last long, but it was kind of a revival in a way. It was an attempted revival at that. But you could tell that because it was they were knocking a lot out. But the successful ones were literally just the Wayans brothers and stuff. It was clear, like you mentioned, Don't Be a Menace to South Central. That's like one of their early ones, isn't it? Obviously, you could tell that there was a very, not a lot of people had a big bite of that pie. Put it that way. There was only a few that were making any real fucking money, and I think by the time they got back to like the one where it was like Meet the Spartans, for fuck's sake, on 300, it was just like
the
what
300 parody.
I remember catching some of that somewhere, and I was just like, how is this even a fucking thing?
Yeah, it's amazing that they got money to even put that out. But yeah, it's amazing how many people still remember these films. Okay, well that was it for the Facebook questions. Let me see here. We have our lovely live audience Twitch questions, which we're going to get to now.
Yes.
Just going to quickly refresh here. I'm just getting the spinning wheel like, come on, come through. Okay, we have a question here from Rio Quinn.
What's up, Dave?
Zack Snyder is teasing something dark side coming.
Something
What do you think
dark
it'll
side.
be? I'm thinking an animated finale to his universe.
That would be fucking sweet. That would be nice. Yeah. But he has got that new movie coming soon, though, hasn't he?
He's doing a lot of Netflix stuff.
Well,
He's got the...
that weird one with fucking Idris Elba in,
That's
right?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's also planning
It's
more...
like Avatar, he's going to announce 6 sequels to that movie that's not even finished filming yet.
He's also doing...
And in 2030, I'm going to release number 4.
I think he's still working on another project in his Army of the Dead, or the zombie apocalypse film that he did that had a prequel movie as well.
It'll be the director's cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League. It'll be 9 hours long, and
Yeah.
it'll be filmed on a phone.
At that aspect ratio.
Yeah.
I did see that, and obviously anything Zack Snyder DC related is going through the new rebranding DC, but I think that would be really cool. I think
Great way to finish it as well, because you're completely
you give it closure,
unencumbered by what you can do.
You then,
because it's not like we need 2 movies to get the fucking Steppenwolf CGI right. It's just make Darkseid do this. Monkey, draw it.
Yeah,
you know,
and animate it.
So
get whoever to voice it. The
and
main
the DC
thing
animated movies are fucking good.
They have been absolutely. Yeah. And the main thing is as well. Then, like James Gunn and those making the DC movies going forward they don't have to hear, here's the Zack Snyder universe, here's the Snyder cut, like forever and ever. You know, they can just end it, so they don't have to hear it anymore and carry on. I think. Yeah. Would be the best. Cheers for the question, Dave.
Good question, dude.
Next question is from Mungo.
What's up, dude?
What game would you like to see a remaster of? My choice would be PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy, and the Punisher game. Fist bumps.
Punisher game is underrated. As like that's a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Violent as all fuck as well.
First one that came to mind that for some reason is Siphon Filter. Like, it's such a retro game that you know it was there around the time of the Metal Gear Solids. You know or just after. I think there was 3 Siphon Filter games.
Yeah.
I remember the first 2 fondly. Original PlayStation, yeah. Remember the first one fondly. Second one was good. Third one I don't remember enjoying very much. But the taser play, the difficulty was brutal. I think that one, not just a remaster, I think a whole remake. Then again, I don't tend to play those types of games anymore either. But
I'm going to say, I've got 2. I would love to see a really, really beautifully redone version of BioShock. I'd love to go back to Rapture in updated graphics.
We're getting System Shock soon. But that's a remake again.
That's a remake, the original. I'm going to say Bulletstorm, which was done by Epic. It was a first-person shooter done by Epic.
Is that the one that had the voice? Didn't they get Duke Nukem to do a? Like an audio
what? It was
pack
linked.
For that
I think that you got a demo in one of them I think when you bought Duke Nukem, you got a demo for Bulletstorm, or vice versa, maybe. Yeah. So it was in some way related, but it was done. I don't know whether it was Epic or whether it was People Can Fly. When they sort of like split the studios, whatever it was, but yeah, it was it was really fun. It just needed tightening up a little bit, but I would love to see a remake of it. It was like all about like spectacular over the top kills for like points and multipliers and stuff
that's
like
right,
that.
Yeah.
It was People Can Fly. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. I still, despite all its flaws, it was something that I really enjoyed, and it was a real sort of like oh my god, I'm going to replay that mission. I want to get I can get more higher score.
Another one for you.
And it forced you to be inventive.
Not Soul Reaver, but Legacy of Kain. Fuck Raziel. Kane's the boy. Kane's the real boy. I know it's controversial.
They'll probably do it without, I was going to say, they'll probably do it and give you the full ending this time on one fucking game rather than releasing some kind of bullshit.
So I knew it was going to upset somebody. Cheers for the question, Mitch. Let's see here. Next question is from Jay Hines.
What up, Jay?
Evil Dead Rise has gotten a very positive reaction. Will you guys be seeing it on release? Your movie fucking sucks! That's probably what I'll be like, Jay. Like that pundit at the South by Southwest. No, we talked about it earlier in the podcast. Super hyped to see it.
Yeah,
Hope everybody goes and sees it twice, 3 times, and Sam Raimi goes, "Oh, there is still interest in Evil Dead after all. Let's make some more Evil Dead. Let's get other people to make Evil Dead as well. The multiverse.
Make Evil Dead great again."
Yes, I mean Evil Dead's never not been great.
No, but there's never been that much funding. So
true. Yeah. Cheers for the question, though, Jay. Next question is from Code Dude.
What's up?
What are your favorite guilty pleasure movies?
I don't have guilty pleasures because I'm just, if I like it, I just like it. I don't tend to. But...
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
I'll give you one because for him it will be a guilty pleasure because you'll be like, I can't believe you watched that shit. But I'll watch Grown Ups 2 on a Sunday with a kid.
Piece of shit.
Longest Yard, maybe.
Why do you hate me? Yeah. I mean, you guys know my guilty pleasures. It's all of the B-movie monster movies, you know, Sharknadoes.
Yours
and
are like fucking Resident Evil.
the Resident Evil
Fucking
Netflix
hell,
show.
I can't even fucking watch them.
You know, just yeah. The real schlocky, awful stuff.
I still
like
maintain-
Cocaine Bear. I highly recommend.
I maintain, I still like that second Kingsman movie. All right, there, that's a guilty pleasure. The first one's really good. Everyone shits on the second one. There's nothing wrong with that second movie. It's just not as good.
It's the Ben Owen one, isn't it? Well, I actually remember the third
Elton
one.
John one.
Yeah, yeah,
Ben
Ben
Owen.
Owen.
Fucking that'd be amazing.
It's getting late. It's getting late.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I actually remember the third one more than the second one. So many. I mean, yeah, like guilty pleasures. I'm trying to think. Shark movies tend to be my go-to. So I'm really hoping we get a cocaine shark somewhere down the line.
Have to be like LSD, something you take in water, surely.
Right.
Something like that. LSD shark.
Cheers for the question, Code Dude. I'm still trying to think of if there's any other.
Never feel guilty about watching shit movies.
Exactly. You enjoy what you enjoy. Don't feel guilty for it.
Plus, in 10 years, they're cult classics all of a sudden.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the term guilty pleasure is still around for a good reason. It's easy enough then to clarify. It's an enjoyable shitty movie, you know.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next question is from Mahoyage.
What's up?
What are your guilty pleasure films?
Downstairs. We could shit.
Right.
Dude. Fuck's sake!
Like, you know it's trash, but I'm your eyes. But in your eyes, it's da bomb. Hope you guys are good. Cheers, Mahoyage. Favorite guilty pleasure film, Andy?
I think you should refund him his channel.
I think we should. Sorry, Mahoyage.
Yeah, I can't think of any more. I really can't.
From Nella, Gary, no Home Alone. You filthy animal. Was this an oversight? Because I know the shock scene makes you laugh every time. It's Home Alone 2, that shock scene where he gets electrocuted. It is. I crease myself.
Them fucking bricks.
The bricks.
Oh my God.
Marv.
You have to do better than that.
Kid, yeah. Do you give up? Or you thirsty for more? Like, yeah, there's I love Home Alone, but the thing is, I love Home Alone's final 20 minutes, and I love Home Alone 2's final 20 minutes. You know, that's where all the gags and jokes and everything's at. Everything else is the build up to it.
There are no more Home Alone movies after
that. Yeah, there are no more after that. Yeah, I mean,
like Highlander 1,
right?
Like, just fucking leave it.
But thank you for reminding me, Nella, of that awesome moment in Home Alone 2.
Is there one? See, I'm trying to think. Is there one of those like notorious fucking bad sequels that's maybe a guilty pleasure? And I was like, I don't really like any of the Highlander ones at all. Can't even call it a guilty pleasure. Like, I wouldn't even watch the fucking Sorcerer right now or anything.
Right, yeah.
Like
the thing is,
T1 and 2, I'm kind of like, I can't even call a single one of those afterwards a guilty pleasure.
I like Highlander 2.
Why?
Because it's so stupid.
Fuck, dude.
I love the interplay between McLeod and Ramirez. Because it's Sean Connery. I think he's great. Like, the moment where he turns up and he's like, somebody's doing a play and he's just on stage and the actor calls him a shithead, and so throughout the rest of the film Ramirez is calling people shitheads. It's like the scene where they get in the car and they drive into the enemy facility and they all get shot up and then they'll wake up in the morgue. It's great moments. Yeah, I know it's a terrible film. I know.
It's terrible.
But I guess it's a guilty pleasure. Highlander 2. Here's my film card. I'm retired. Alrighty, next question is from Solza.
What's up?
I know you've literally just done a top 5, but Gary,
do another one.
If you were stuck on a desert island, what 5 films would you want with you? Andy, what 5 wrestling matches would you want with you?
Ooh.
Cheers, Solza.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm taking Serenity, Aliens, RoboCop, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's good.
Thank you for the question, Solza.
Okay. So I'm gonna
Those were just off the top of my head as well.
I'm gonna take the 1998 Hell in a Cell match between No, I'm not. Oh fuck no, you fucked me up now. Got to think. Okay, Rock versus Stone Cold WrestleMania X7 main event.
Nice.
Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker WrestleMania 26. 25? 26. No, 26 is better. Oh shit, no. 25 is a better match. 26 got a better story. 25, it's a better match. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold WrestleMania 13. And then I'm going to take... That's the double turn. And then I'm going to take Gunther versus Sheamus from Clash at the Castle from last year, because it's phenomenal and I was there. And then I'm going to take... Oh, this is so hard to do with just 5. This is off the top of my head again.
Yeah.
Gunther versus Dragunov for the NXT UK World Title from 2020.
Nice.
Slap. Fucking brilliant.
Nice. I don't know
Good
most
question.
of those fights.
Good question. Triple H.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you ask me, it'll fucking change.
Right. But that's the difference. That's the uniqueness. There's like, what's your favorite
Absolutely.
film on any given day? It can change. Thank you for the question, though, Salza. Next question is from Mr. Will Guitar.
What up, Will?
What classic do you think, with just a tweak, could be a total laugh out loud comedy? And vice versa, too. No Holy Grail to Excalibur doesn't count. Because that would be a lot of tweaks. If you tweaked a comedy, that it could become a serious movie?
So if you
Oh no, take a classic and tweak it to a comedy.
So if you basically replaced human flesh with gummy bears, Silence of the Lambs would be fucking hilarious. Well, that's a tweak.
Yeah. That's a tough one. What classic with the right tweak? Like,
well, it's like if you took Top Gun but made it like, you know, for comedy, it'd be Hot Shots. So,
right, but yeah,
like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, because there's so many films that are the parodies, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think like RoboCop. You know, it almost hinges on the point of parody, but
The tweak is like it's a water pistol. Every time he shoots someone, he's like that guy shoots in the nuts. He's like, oh.
I'm also just trying to think of like there's so many successful films that like Asylum, you know, tries to emulate with their films and it just falls flat. Or even like Starship Troopers, like where the sequels, you know, just like it's been tweaked to the point where they just become comedies or they just don't. It's not what it was originally. It's a tough question, Mr. Wood. I think on the spot though, to really think.
Just turning something into a comedy.
Yeah.
That's such a movie studio question as well. Will.
Yes.
It's like, you know, I really wanted a comedy. Can you just turn it into a comedy? It's like, I mean, I'm 6 months into a film and a horror, mate, but yeah, right. I suppose. Put some dick jokes in there. Yeah, that was got a good one in the chat. Saw, instead of death traps, he makes them watch bad films.
Right.
It's like, no.
Cheers for the question, Mr. Will. I'm sorry I couldn't come up with quite a good one. The next question is from Matt Midgley.
What's up, Matt?
Question for Andy.
What's up?
Let's say Cody defeats Roman at WrestleMania Roman takes some time off.
Probably gonna happen.
In that scenario, who would you choose as Cody's first challenger as champion?
This is the tough question at the minute, because I would probably go Jey Uso, because the chances are is with Roman going away, you'll probably have this like disbanding of the bloodline. 90% of you are fucking chopping off right now, so I apologize. So you're probably gonna have like maybe a disbanding of the bloodline. So I would like to see them use that as a way to elevate. So you've got like, I think Sikoa can go into like a mid-card title thing as someone who's been called up from NXT. He can go into that intercontinental title chase. But Jey Uso deserves a main event. He deserves to be main event Jey Uso again. He deserves to have that push. So I would like to see him, you know, he's like, you've taken everything from us. You've conspired to like rob us of our titles. You know, you've driven our tribal chief out of the WWE for the minute. I'm going to take this from you. So that would be good. From a wrestling point of view, I'd love to see Cody and Finn Balor go at it, because I still think Finn Balor is one of the best. But I think story wise, I think you could do something magic with Jey Uso. Thing is, as well, you got like, you know, day after Mania, God knows what's going to happen. You know, who they're going to bring in or who they're going to call up from sort of NXT and stuff as well. I won't be surprised to see Braun Breaker come up, and then again you've got two multi-generational stars going at it. But I think that it makes sense. I don't think that you have Cody defeat the Bloodline, which has been the most dominant. Cody, as well as, like, you know, you got Sami and Kevin Owens that are doing their thing. You know, it's all set up to deconstruct the Bloodline. I don't think you do that and then just, okay, well, who's next then, or something. Do you know what I mean?
So, question from somebody from the outside.
Yeah.
How long has the champion Roman been champion for?
He's coming up to 1,000 days. He's coming up to like 5 years or something.
Is this the longest championship defense?
Since Bruno Sammartino, I believe, yes.
Wow. Do you think he will lose it at this WrestleMania?
Probably. But do you know what? If he retains, I'd kind of be like, all right, that's fine.
Sure.
You know? But I think, especially watching SmackDown today from last night, I think it's going to happen. So, yeah, I'd very much like to see them then. Jey Uso massively deserves it. But I'd also like to see Cody have a good run as a face champion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Alrighty,
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be
Thank you
interesting.
for the question, Matt. No question for me. Next question is from it's Triple H. Exactly. Thank you. Next question is from Richie.
What's up, Richie?
No question this month. Sorry, guys. Oh, just thought I had, as we all know, that Gary just loves Adam Sandler. Now, just think of Bruce Campbell being replaced in all his roles, big or small, with Adam Sandler. Sorry, not sorry, Gary.
That's just
Richie,
mean, dude.
why'd you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? I can't, my brain can't even. I can't even do it. It just... No, why am I thinking about it? Just don't do it. It's like a raising. It's like the spell has already gone out there, like the Doctor Strange spell, and like all the media is slowly being replaced. And I'm going to be the last one that remembers who Bruce Campbell is.
Yeah.
I'm going to be convincing everyone.
It's just horrifying, dude.
That is horrifying. I mean, what about Bruce Campbell in Jack and Jill?
He would have done better, I think.
I mean, could I see Bruce Campbell doing the Dunkachino scene? Like,
well, I mean, he did Pizza Popper in fucking...
he did the Pizza
and
Popper in
that
Doctor
was like,
Strange.
that weren't great.
Yeah, like... oh no, I'm just like the worst case scenario. I'm just imagining Bruce Campbell just selling himself out for it to be in a Sandler movie. I'm just like,
I'm more concerned about Adam
I'm
Sandler.
so my soul is being hurt.
I'm more concerned of fucking, oh, this is my boomstick. Like that.
No,
That's more fucking worrying to me.
Make it stop.
Yeah.
Oh god, this is my hell. This is like I've read from the Necronomicon that Adam Sandler Deadites popped up. I'll never get rid of it. Well, cheers for the horror story, Richie.
Brutal.
Much appreciated.
Fucking brutal, that.
And thank you, everyone, for your questions. We are at the end of the podcast. So, Andy, I just want to say a huge thank you. Loved our top five, or your top five list.
Yeah, man, always fun.
Complete difference to mine. I just want to say massive thank you to everyone for hanging out in the live chat. Always amazing to have you here for the live podcasts. And thank you for listening in through all three parts and for submitting your questions. We will be back next month with podcast number 55. We'll get Ian in for this one. When is WrestleMania?
So it's the end of this month, start of April, basically.
So
First week in April,
the theme
so
of the
it will
next
be
podcast
afterwards.
may very well be wrestling.
We're gonna
related.
we're gonna talk about it. So just be prepared.
I might be absent next podcast.
Right. Just within 10 minutes, and you're
like, with that being said, you can find new film reviews on Thursdays on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Patreon, and on Discord. Thank you for hanging out, everyone. It's been amazing. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Love your faces.